Is Daily Blast Live. We're talking about what you're talking about. Real, honest, entertaining, live. DBL starts right now.
And welcome to DBL. It's Wednesday, November 11th. I'm Tori here with Jeff and Lindsay.
What's up, guys?
Welcome back. in studio.
Thank you. This feels so weird. I feel like I'm taking an SAT test. You can't cheat, okay?
I wish they had these kind of boards when I was in school.
All right, we do want to start off with today is Veterans Day, a day where we honor the men and women who stood up to protect our country. Did you know that Veterans Day was originally Armistice Day, marking the end of the First World War in 1919? So there are about 17.4 million veterans, and of those, more than 1.6 million are women. Currently, there are about 37,000 veterans experiencing homelessness. That's about 11% of the homeless population. So, do you have any vets in your life, and what are you doing to honor them? First of all, excited to be back. I'm sorry I missed yesterday. Everything's fine. I just needed a day. So I just wanted to clear that up. People were like,
She doesn't have COVID.
Yeah, I don't have COVID, all right? All right, let's get straight to my father-in-law. This is my father-in-law, Brad Palmer. He was on the USS Shangri-La here, and he was patrolling the Caribbean and the Mediterranean.
Where's his cigar in that picture?
I know. He's a famous sportscaster, and he always had a cigar, or always has a cigar. So, Jeff, you have someone in your family as well, right?
Oh, funny you ask, Tori. I sure do. My dad was in the Army. I had to get these pictures for my mom this morning, so mind the flash in the picture. But yeah, there's my dad.
That's awesome.
But yeah.
Wow. Lindsay, you have a lot of vets in your family.
One thing I'll say is that no adults in my family know how to take pictures of photos. So I have a bunch too that we tried very hard this morning to get photos of. It's a whole thing.
The glare.
Right, it's ridiculous. So I found out, well, I already knew that two of my grandfathers on both sides, my dad's dad and my mom's dad, both were in the Army.
Wow.
And then my uncle and Colin's father were both in Vietnam.
Wow.
And I learned so many stories just about specifically like Colin's dad being the smartest in his class and then getting drafted, or my dad's father getting drafted when my dad was 6 days old. I learned these stories just this morning, and I felt like I have so much more to learn. So I think it's an opportunity to talk to people in your family that were affected by people going to war, or by being drafted, or by being in the military, and a time to salute them for all that they gave up and sacrificed for all of us.
And those pictures are awesome, by the way, too. Beautiful. So if you like put those in your house, people ask questions, it's another way to remember for everybody, right?
Absolutely. We salute you all, and thank you, thank you, thank you. We can't thank you enough. Speaking of thanking, a lot of people are having to rethink their Thanksgiving plans. What a wah-wah. Am I right? Thank you. As the coronavirus surge continues to get worse, right now there are more than 61,000 Americans hospitalized with the disease, and our 7-day average for new cases in the country is well above 100,000. So, with the pandemic really heating up, the CDC has now issued some new guidelines for Thanksgiving we want to tell you about. They are strongly encouraging people to keep your celebrations to only people in your household. But they say if you're getting together with other people, please bring your own plate, your own cup, your own utensils. They also suggest using single-serving condiments, and of course, keep your distance and wear a mask except when eating. Finally, they also recommend dining outside, or if you are inside, open your windows. Like, this isn't normal. Let's just call that out. This isn't normal. This is really sad. I had plans I haven't hugged my mom or dad in 2020, and it's going to be me and Brooks and the dogs. What about you?
I know, it's just, I'm still thinking about it because I think like a lot of people had plans and trying to figure out how to see their family. It's a time to just detach from everything that happened this year.
Right.
You just wanted to be around family and smile, and to see the cases going up, you're scared to do anything. Like, I'm back to scared to going to the grocery store, and back to how I felt in March. And so I feel like the whole country is back there with cities and states shutting back down again. It's just a scary time. I'm not even sure. I'm still indecisive on what I'm going to do.
Jeff, what are you doing? Nothing?
Staying in with the family. I wish I could go back home, visit my family, Jordan's family, but we've already made the choice months ago that we weren't going to do anything for Thanksgiving and keep our fingers crossed for Christmas, and now it doesn't even look like that's happening. So I hope people out there do adhere to these rules, or at least somewhat, but you can't even get a person to wear a mask in a grocery store. How are you going to get them to do some of these things at home? You know?
I know. And for all those out there who haven't seen their family, just know we at DBL, we feel you. It stinks. It's really nerve-wracking. And everyone had hopes every month that, oh, maybe in November I'll see them, right? It was always like, oh, Thanksgiving, oh, Hanukkah. But then it was, so we're just thinking of you, and we're wishing you the best Thanksgiving ever. Trying to be, at least. All right, well, the transition tensions between President-elect Joe Biden and President Trump are continuing with no real signs that things will be resolved anytime soon. But we didn't really want to get into that on the show today, so instead we came across some pictures that are going viral right now. They make my heart happy. This is showing a past transition. Check out these. Jenna Bush Hager posted them, remembering the time she showed Malia and Sasha Obama around the White House for the very first time. She even showed them how to slide down the banister. This is something I love in D.C., the transition of power, when one president sees the other take off in the helicopter and say goodbye, and it shows what a civilized, developed country are, no matter what side of the aisle we are. This is a letter from Bush that was written and says, "Your success now is our country's success. I'm rooting hard for you." George W. Bush. What do you think about this, Linz?
I love the picture that we showed of the first daughters because they're so fiercely protective over each other. If you saw what Chelsea Clinton did when she stood up for Malia Obama when people were using her as clickbait, she's like, this is a kid, so you guys are going to have to stop talking about her. You know that Jenna Bush Hager is on television every day. She fiercely protects both kids if anybody talks about them. And I think that it's important to know this is a club they didn't ask to be a part of, but it's an honor to be a part of, be a president's daughter. And so I think that they also have all this expectations on them of what they're going to be and become, and they get to protect each other in this way. I think it's really awesome to watch.
I do too. And just to correction there, sorry, it was George H.W. Bush to Clinton. And it's a very famous thing, a handwritten letter. It's the last thing a president traditionally does. They slip it into the desk at the Oval Office for the next president to read. It's a beautiful tradition.
Well, I think it's a lot easier tradition if you've served 8 years. Right?
Yeah.
So it's a lot easier to write that letter and be like, sorry, buddy, I probably would have won again, but now it's your turn. When you're knocked off after 4 years, it's like...
Well, George H.W. Bush was the 4 years, so he did it very nicely and cordially. Do you think...
to Obama, though, the switch was 8 years.
Yes,
right.
Yes.
So that's a little easier to write that letter. But that aside, if I were a kid in the White House, like, I don't know if you'd know all the legends of or conspiracies, but I'd be like all over the walls, like taking down the paintings, like searching for the booby trap.
Where's the private door?
I'd watch National Treasure and then look for everything that I could find.
My friend was friends with Chelsea, and she would often go to the White House for sleepover, and I'd be like, cool.
Really?
Yeah, and I'd be like, tell me everything. It's amazing.
I would have been like, can I get your suitcase?
She had to live a normal life. She went to Sidwell Friends. She played on the lacrosse team. Chelsea was treated just like normal, but Secret Service would surround her. I mean, it would be weird when you played field hockey and there's just like guys out there.
Listen, can we get into a real conversation here? Like, how awesome would it be to get like drunk in the Oval Office or like have sex all over that place? Come on, let's just be
That
honest.
didn't even cross my mind in this particular segment. I swear it didn't cross my mind.
Oh,
Not in this moment. That didn't cross my mind.
Come on.
The Lincoln bedroom.
You know there is
No.
stuff going down.
But you know what? Michelle Obama once said that it never felt like home,
Yeah.
right? Imagine being in this museum that people come to visit every day.
butlers
It
still.
still would be like, she had to like sneak out to go see stuff sometimes, running away from Secret Service just to go see what the lights look like outside of the White House
Lindsay,
and things like that.
for that conversation. Welcome back, Lindsay. Welcome back.
We appreciate you doing that.
Actually, Bert, our boss, appreciates you.
That's
Okay, I got you,
And
Bert.
just so you know, Michelle Obama made Sasha and Malia make their bed every day. And they have butlers literally in dress from the traditions of the old 1700s. And she made them clean their room.
I like that.
I like that too.
Jeff was like, I don't like
Good
that.
Thanks. Can't with Jeff. Coming up on DBL, the cast of Family Ties reunites for one night only. Could a show featuring a politically divided family work today? And Florida's governor is advocating for stricter laws against rioters and looters. Both sides of the debate. We're going there. Coming up next. Welcome back to DBL. All right, let's just talk, you and I and the rest of us here. There's been a lot of unrest in the country this past summer, and now some people are wondering, should you be able to shoot looters who are ransacking your store? Real discussion here. Florida Governor Ron DeSantis has drafted something called anti-mob legislation, and it's serious expansion of the state's stand your ground laws. So according to the Miami Herald, some worry that the legislation would allow armed citizens to shoot and potentially kill anyone suspected of looting. The legislation also includes a measure that would make protesting that blocks traffic a third-degree felony. It would also grant immunity to drivers who unintentionally kill or injure a protester blocking traffic. So this all sounds pretty controversial. We go to you during these topics. We want to hear from you, DBL Nation. Do you support this new draft legislation? Yes or no? We're going to have this up as we talk. Go to dblvote.com to weigh in. This is where we're at. Can you take open fire? Can you shoot? And you know what? It's not insane to hear this, because I understand if you're a business owner, this is a real question for you. I find this legislation crazy, anarchy, insane. Thoughts?
Listen, I think some of them are a little out there, right? But something needs to be done. Maybe not to the extreme where you could just take your car and run over somebody and not be blamed for it, right? That's a little extreme to me. Maybe if you're in harm inside your store, you feel threatened, maybe that's an excuse to pull out a weapon. We only have a couple minutes to talk about this, so I'm trying to be brief about it. I do think something needs to be done, though, right? Because in a lot of cities like Portland, like Seattle, even Santa Monica, California, the police were told to stand down, not get involved and let them ransack. And it's going to take 5, 10, 15, maybe never to come back from the devastation that is caused by these loots and riots, right? So something needs to be done. Some kind of legislation needs to be put in place to at least put some kind of fear into somebody that's doing this. Because when the police are told to stand down, there is no fear. But does it need to be extreme as running people over in the streets?
What do they say? We've escalated quickly. What do you think about this? I mean, there's got to be something in between what I think and what Jeff thinks, right?
I mean, what this law is saying is shoot first, ask later, which is ridiculous to me. I think it's terrible. If you look at the March on Washington, if you look at the March in Selma, like these are places and times where protesters were taking over the street. So you're telling me that if people ran over them or shot them, this is okay? John Lewis? Right. So this is, people are not in the streets for no reason. We always have to go back to the root of why people are protesting, and more overwhelmingly protesting as opposed to rioting. And so giving a pedestrian the type of wherewithal to say you can go out there and just kill somebody is ridiculous to me, because we already know with stand your ground, it's been so harshly, or people of color have been so harshly affected by that law, that here we're going to go down that rabbit hole, or where we have a bunch of people walking around as toy cops that are not actually police or authority, just shooting people. And so I don't think that this is a good rule at all, especially when protesting is part of our right, part of our freedom of speech.
Civil disobedience, I completely agree with you. Now, why don't they come up with, and I'm just saying, another idea, like a looting part of the police? So a looting or riot police, I know they have riot gear, but so that those particularly trained in looting or rioting would know what to do. You would think, could we not allocate funds that way instead of just everybody can shoot? Does that make sense?
Yeah, but I think it's again a longer conversation, but it's difficult when you have, let's just put numbers on it, 50 police officers and 500 rioters, right? It's difficult
to
take.
We had pictures and videos of the rioters and looters during George Floyd protests and the subsequent protests after that, and a lot of them were not affiliated with the Black Lives Matter movement at all, right?
Absolutely.
So those are people
I'm not trying to.
I know, but those are people that should have been targeted specifically. We had video, and police in certain cities did nothing about that exact video of these exact people that we had. They never followed up. We asked for the follow-up on that man who smashed in AutoZone, and nothing happened with the umbrella and the black suit.
Maybe a looters police section could at least target those and spend money for those, because they're not part of the protest. You're absolutely right.
I'm just thinking they're outnumbered. That was the point I was getting at. I wasn't trying to put them together. I'm talking about people. I'm not talking about protests. We're talking about looting and violence. That's what we're talking about.
That's
and that
right.
comes from all colors, races, creeds, and everybody.
Absolutely. Let's take a look. Oh, wow. Wow.
Split right down the middle.
Split right down the middle. So y'all said 53% of you said yes. Wow, a majority supports this. Okay, It's good to hear that. I need
Oh,
to-
wow.
Oh, wow. Little Owen Wilson for you. Coming up. Way to break that silence. Inside joke. I love it. It's a blast from the past when the cast, wow, that all rhymed, of Family Ties reunites for a good cause. But we got to ask, could that show work in 2020 in a divided America?
Say wow.
Welcome back to DBL. The cast of Family Ties, one of my all-time favorite sitcoms, reunited for charity last night. So in case you're young and you're making me feel old and you don't know what it was, the 80s sitcom featured Michael J. Fox, the star, as Alex P. Keaton. Now, he was a conservative Republican being raised by liberal parents. During the reunion, Michael Gross, who played the dad, reflected on the politics of the time. Take a look.
I love the time that we were together. I mean, that was I think as you'll all agree, a kinder, gentler politics. It was a great time. In the same way, we hammered out our compromises in the family, and I think that's one of the things that people loved about us.
This show could not have, would not survive now. We couldn't.
It would. We have family members that are on different pages, and we do get along.
I think people want a show like this.
Okay, let's go around the horn. I think it would be remarkable to bring it back. First of all, it's Michael J. Fox, and everybody wants to root for him. But second of all, that is the dinner table at everywhere, in all cities in America. There's one person that really disagrees with you, and you got to break bread.
But how is it that they could somehow love each other at the end of that conversation, right?
Because they're family.
But in today's day and age, family is split up. So if you did a show that's realistic, you'd have someone off the show every week because people don't talk to their best friends, their mothers, their fathers, their brothers, everyone. Because of politics, it's so divisive that it's like, wait, you're a Democrat, I'm Republican, or vice versa? Out of my life.
I think you have a point, because I think in the last couple of years.
Last 4 years, perhaps?
It's been super specifically divided, I think, it's been a non-traditional, I'll say, approach to politics. And so when you're at home, some of these policies mean something different than what they used to mean to people that are like, okay, well, this directly affects me these ways, this is happening. And so people take it personally, like, I'm offended, like, you hate me, or you have a problem with me. And especially if it's family, that's non-optional. So now I have to see you again next year, probably, or you're always my sister or my cousin. And so I've had friends that said they sat at the table and they're like, Mom, I cannot believe you, but I love you. But it's different, I guess, when you're friends. It's like, well, I'm just going to speak to you in a couple years.
What happened to the conversation? What happened to being like, I learned so much from you, Tori, and that's honest, right? And
you know what happened?
I'm not even a Republican. I'm like down the middle, and I've learned a lot from you because we listen to each other, right?
But you know what happened? What I really think, and I'm not saying this against our current president, I think the climate of the administration, it starts at the top, has made the other person of a different political ideology your enemy. We're no longer Americans trying to make it better, which was Michael J. Fox trying to figure out. He just liked fiscal conservative, lower government. Now it's become, I hate you personally.
I don't like that.
I agree with you.
Because it's an excuse to be mean or to hate somebody.
I agree with you.
You know what? I hate your guts and get the hell out of my house because my principal was bad in high school. No, your actions are your own, and you should be responsible for your actions, right? And you can't blame it on somebody else or think to blame it on somebody else. No one should be pointing the fingers.
And I think, and I hope you agree, that the pendulum, where I always talk about, and y'all make fun of me, is so far up here that it has to come down. It has to. Do you agree?
I also think if they're going to sit at the table and argue just about presidents, you have to say, okay, did you vote in your local politics? Do you know who your sheriff is? Do you know? Because if you're saying these things directly affects you, you have to think about the fact that some people in your local community are easily affected more expediently than what your president is doing.
For sure. I don't know. Well, we just had a conversation for a couple of minutes, and no one wants to break down these fake walls.
I'm about to come through, Depp.
Can I just say welcome back, Lindsay? Because look, show the passcode. Just show the passcode.
Well, now we have to change the passcode. But let me tell you, I didn't write this down. No, someone wrote this down for me because I didn't know the passcode.
9999. We should change your luggage code.
Right. Make sure you write that down.
Shame.
Sorry.
Shame. We'll be right back. 99999.
Promotional consideration is brought to you by
Welcome back to DBL. You have a month left to make a big decision that impacts your health. We're talking about open enrollment. Let's get financially literate, insurance literate, because I know a lot of people don't know what that is. Here are 3 ways changing your plans can save money in today's DBL Health Alert presented by Health Markets. First, if you switch from regular Medicare to Medicare Advantage or vice versa, it can save you tons. Different plans can lower premiums. Second, explore all Medicare Advantage plans. There's so many different types. Look at the deductible, the copay, the out-of-pocket maximums to save money. Finally, by adding, switching, or dropping prescription drug coverage, you can actually save a lot. When it comes to your health, we've made it easy to find the best and most cost-effective Medicare Advantage plan. Just call 1-800-800-9974. I got some comments I want to read to you guys. Samay Yab from Facebook says, I think President Obama should write President Biden a letter and leave it for him.
No, you got to do it for the president.
Alan says there's a difference between, sorry, we just totally took you down on that one. There's a difference between protesting and rioting. We
absolutely
all agree with that
100%.
strongly. Demaria says Family Ties was the best.
Speaking of family, my aunt said, I didn't send you any glared pics, so excuse me.
After Family Ties, there was like a little ad that came out. Do you remember what it was?
No.
Sit, boo-boo, sit. Good dog.
Dog. Woof. Wow. We'll see you next time.
Talking about today on Daily Blast Live.
Shooting looters? A new proposal in Florida would let armed citizens protect local businesses. DBL Nation, are you for or against this? In today's True Crime Chronicles, a woman's death, thought to be a freak accident, turns into a murder investigation.
You were responsible for the death of my precious child.
Why 2 teens are now serving time. In honor of Veterans Day, the inspiring story of a man who didn't let his war injuries stop him from making history.
How do you feel, Neil? Pretty amazing, if I'm honest.
And a Family Ties reunion. Would a show like this work today?
Yeah, because this show could not have, would not survive now. We couldn't.
It would.
Real, honest, entertaining, live. DBL starts right now.
Welcome to DBL. It is Wednesday, November 11th. I'm Sam here with Jeff and Al. Erica joining us from home. A very important day today. Today is Veterans Day, a day where we honor the men and women who stood up to protect our country. So did you know that Veterans Day was originally Armistice Day, marking the end of the First World War in 1919? So there are about 17.4 million veterans, and of those, more than 1.6 million are women. Currently, there are about 37,000 veterans experiencing homelessness. That's about 11% of the homeless population. So do you have any vets in your life, DBL Nation? Write in. I know that we do. Erica, you posted a very special photo today on your Instagram of Papa Roosevelt. Tell us about that.
This photo is from 1968. My dad was in the Air Force, Staff Sergeant Roosevelt Cobb. We actually got together as a family last night to celebrate some things and had a little conversation about this photo. It's just really special because I know why my father enlisted, and I know what his service meant to him. I know that he has continued to stay in touch with the men that he served with and has really been an advocate for a handful of them. So it's just really important. We went to the Vietnam Memorial every year, and we took our piece of paper and scratched out one of his friends who died during war. It's just something that we've always done as a tradition.
It's a tradition that I know many of our viewers know, many of us know on the panel. My dad served also, Eric, in Vietnam, 2 tours, and been to that wall, practiced the very same thing. That's actually my grandpa. So my grandpa served in World War II. That's my other grandpa who also served in World War II. But the grandpa in that newspaper, Grandpa Shocker, in that newspaper article, the reason why the newspaper covered it is because my great-grandmother had to send all 5 of her sons.
Oh my God, that's like Saving Private Ryan.
It's exactly like Saving Private Ryan, and in fact, she got a letter from the president thanking her because she sacrificed 5 of her sons. What about you, Jeff?
Yeah, my dad, here's a photo of my dad. He was in Vietnam too, so mind the flash, my mom took that photo for me, and she doesn't know how to get those out of the picture yet.
We get the point. That's awesome.
That was him.
Is that your dad?
That's my dad, yeah. So shout out to all the veterans out there.
Amen.
And I gotta tell Erica, her dad looks just as handsome today.
Woo! Yeah, and Albert.
Good looking man. Yeah, I mean, for mine, you know, obviously my dad served and his brothers did as well. But for me, like, and I've talked about this before on the show, really quickly, when I found out that I booked DBL, I was still on the fence, and I had just come back from a USO tour, and I don't know if we have the pictures. I was in Japan and Okinawa. In the corner, you can barely see me in Ramstein. That's Germany at an Air Force base. Camp Bondsteel in the bottom corner, that's me in Kosovo. There were 18-year-old recruits there that had been in freezing cold, dark Kosovo for 2 weeks that were thanking me for coming to visit. The picture in the top corner was me in South Korea, and that experience, talking to those soldiers and seeing how brave they were and how long they were separated from their family, was the reason that I decided to come to Denver and leave my children in school in Los Angeles. So they have a direct impact on me sitting here and a direct impact on all of us sitting here. So
beautiful story.
You so appreciative of that story. You tell it 100 times.
Dude,
it's the
so
first
honest.
time, every time, and it shows like your care for that. You've done a lot of things in this business, and you talk about that like it's your most
it
passionate.
was because I was like, there's no way. I was like, I'm not going to Denver and leaving my kid. They're my life.
Yeah.
You know, and talking to these people, I'm like, I've been away from home for 18 months, and I have a 6-year-old. I'm like, if you can do that, I can get my butt on a flight every other weekend and go to LA.
Amen.
So
one of my favorite sayings is, you don't know them all, meaning veterans, but we owe them all. So we thank all the veterans out there. Coming up in a few minutes, in fact, we're going to have a remarkable story about a veteran who overcame his war wounds to climb one of the world's most difficult mountains. You do not want to miss it. Now, a lot of people are rethinking, we're switching gears here, their Thanksgiving plans. So as the coronavirus surge continues to get worse, right now there are more than 61,000 Americans hospitalized with the disease, and our 7-day average for new cases in the country is well above 100,000. So with the pandemic really heating up, the CDC has issued some new guidelines for Thanksgiving. So here they are. They're strongly encouraging people to keep celebrations to only people in your household. But they say if you're getting together with other people, you should bring your own plate, your own cup, and utensils. They also suggest using single-serving condiments and, of course, keeping your distance, Also, wear your mask, except for when you're actually eating. And finally, they also recommend that you dine outside. Or if you have to be inside because of weather, make sure you crack open those windows. Now, what's interesting is a lot of our DBL Nation yesterday, because we brought up Thanksgiving yesterday, were writing in, and please continue to write in, saying that they are no longer going to do their what they thought would be their Thanksgiving plans because of the new CDC guidelines. So has anybody here changed their plans? Anybody thought they were going home? You're no longer going to go home?
I'm on the fence, Jeff. I'm assuming you're staying here?
Yeah, I'm staying here. Well, I mean, our plan all along was when they started to skip Thanksgiving, unfortunately, and keep our fingers crossed for Christmas, and hopefully we can make it back then. But listen, you have to do what you have to do. It's hard enough to get people to wear a mask these days, right? To have all those guidelines that you just mentioned, Sam, people follow those for Thanksgiving. You know, you're affecting my family, too. That's what it comes down to. I'm not doing this because I want your family and your grandparents and your ill to survive. So the sacrifices that people aren't making for other people is shameful in my mind.
Erica?
Well, Anthony and I are celebrating Thanksgiving together, just the two of us, and I know that completely bums out my parents, but it's just something that we really feel like, since we took so many precautions to get home earlier this year, but since everyone's going to be traveling, it's just too risky.
Yeah, and we're on the finishing leg, right? When you look at the pandemic and knowing that a vaccine is near, like, we can't give up now.
Right.
And I know we're all fatigued. I'm fatigued. I want to see my family. I want to see my parents. And I read your comments, DBL Nation. Everybody is over it, but we're almost to the end, and we cannot falter now, because that will end up in more loss of life.
And Sam, to your point, losing anybody is a tragedy, but what if you lost somebody the Thanksgiving before we got the vaccine, when we were right there at the end? So I mean,
that would haunt you.
It would haunt you forever. Right. So we might just have to miss this one, chalk this one up, and look forward to the next four.
Yeah, and when I mean shameful, I'm not shaming people who are getting together for Thanksgiving. Do what you want to do. I'm saying the everyday thing, social distancing, wearing a mask. We're still talking about it 8 months later and urging people to talk about it. It's like, come on.
Yeah,
you know?
It's time.
Right there with you. Erica, stick around. Coming up on DBL, he may have lost his legs in Iraq, but one veteran didn't lose sight of his dreams. How he made history climbing one of the world's most dangerous mountains. Plus, Johnny Depp's most loyal fans, well, they are coming to his defense. What they're doing to muster support. And Florida's governor is advocating for stricter laws against rioters and looters. Both sides of that controversial debate coming up next.
The Verify team is here for you when it comes to politics. We avoid spin and opinions and just focus on the facts. With Joe Biden projected to have won the 2020 election, we've heard a lot of questions about executive orders. People are asking us to verify. Could a new president reverse executive orders of the past administration? Our sources for this one are the National Constitution Center, the National Archives, this 2014 report from the Congressional Research Service, and Alan B. Morrison, an associate dean at the George Washington University Law School. And the short answer here is yes. Any executive order can be changed or even eliminated. Here's how the Congressional Research Service put it. By their very nature, executive orders lack stability, especially in the face of evolving presidential priorities. Continuing that, the president is free to revoke, modify, or supersede any past executive orders. But Morrison says there's a catch here. He says that when a president issues an executive order, they're often telling an agency what to do. That agency then creates or amends their regulations. So when a new president signs an executive order of their own to rescind that previous order, Morrison says they also need the agency in question to change their regulations. They also need to provide a legal justification for such a change.
So that, for example, if a rule that DHS put into effect was subject to public notice and comment, the Biden administration would have to follow the same procedures in getting rid of that.
So we can verify that yes, a new president can reverse an executive order from a past administration, but they'll need to ask the agencies themselves to change their regulations. With your Verify, this is Evan Kozlov.
Welcome back to DBL. There's been a lot of unrest in the country in recent months, and now some people are wondering, should you be able to shoot looters who are ransacking your store? Well, Florida Governor Ron DeSantis has drafted new anti-mob legislation. That's what it's called, and it's a serious expansion of the Stand Your Ground laws there in Florida. According to the Miami Herald, some worry the legislation would allow armed citizens to shoot and potentially kill anyone suspected of looting. The legislation also includes a measure that would make protesting that blocks traffic a third-degree felony. It would also grant immunity to drivers who unintentionally kill or injure a protester blocking traffic. So this all sounds very controversial, in my opinion. So DBL Nation, we want to hear what you think. Do you support this new draft legislation? Let us know. Yes or no. We're going to monitor that. Go to dblvote.com to weigh in. Jeff, what do you make of this?
Listen, something needs to be done, right? I don't know to this extreme. People are going to get away with running people over in the street. That's not good, or be able to just shoot random people whenever you want. Listen, if you're being attacked, I understand defending yourself, but something needs to be done. We've lost cities like Seattle, Portland, the city of Santa Monica. The police were told to stand down while people destroyed that city. Those cities might not come back in 5 years, maybe 10 years, maybe ever. People are moving out of cities because they're so destroyed. Something needs to be done. To this extreme, I don't think so. I think we need to have a conversation, a real conversation, to stop a lot of this, because a lot of our cities, people aren't going to move. They're moving out of. They're not moving into.
Yeah, Jeff, I think what bothers me about this conversation is kind of the vague language that we're using. Like, what's the actual definition of protesting and looting? And who are these people that we are randomly deputizing to use their weapons? What is somebody that's suspected of looting? What does that look like? What if I am the cable man and I'm checking the cable outside? You could say, I suspected this man of trying to break into my property. Could you shoot me then? That's a fair, you can suspect that. But we have laws and we have procedures by trained professionals to avoid situations like that could be unfortunate on both sides. So I think when we start throwing laws around like this, ask ourselves, will we apply this to healthcare? If, Jeff, I thought that you had a heart condition, I have no training, could I just open you up and try and do some surgery? Like, we have professionals for that. So, like, let's let the professionals and the lawmakers make laws without vague language so we don't run into bad situations.
Yeah, I don't think this is wrong. This is absolutely wrong, Erica. And I see you making a face, and I would imagine you agree.
I'm so confused.
Yeah.
I feel like this conversation needs a little bit more energy. We do understand that these very loose language and loose qualifications are what resulted in the death of Trayvon Martin, what resulted in the death of the young ally in Charlottesville. You're talking about a state where in 1920, November 3rd of 1920, a riot ensued that is sitting on DeSantis's desk in terms of a bill in order to honor the fallen of over 60 individuals, all in a black community, based on one black man deciding to vote. If you want to have a conversation about rioting and looting, DeSantis, have a conversation about Ocoee, okay? Have a conversation about that, because at the end of the day, when we start talking about stand your ground and you're putting property over people in places and folks who already feel emboldened to just shoot and ask questions later anyway, there cannot be a slippery slope. I need a little bit more energy behind this to say that this is abhorrent.
Yeah, it's
abhorrent
I'm with
at
you.
best.
I'm with you, Erica. I can't even see the other side on this one, especially because of the very fact that, let's say somebody does loot, right? Let's say somebody does riot. Of course that's wrong. But the sentence for that, the consequence for that is not death. And this feels like the wild, wild west to me. This feels like we're going backwards.
Most of our riots take place after sports championships. So could I roll down if the Cavs win and just start opening fire on people?
Yeah.
How does that work?
Yeah. Okay. Let's look at the megaphone. 62% of you, do you support this new draft legislation? 62% of you say yes. I don't understand. I feel like we're going backwards. Today's Veterans Day. It feels wrong today. It's going to feel wrong tomorrow. Coming up on DBL, the cast of Family Ties reunites for one night only. Should a show featuring a politically divided family work today? And meet a veteran who lost his legs on the battlefield, but not his determination to climb a mountain. His inspirational story next. Welcome back to DBL. Today, we are paying tribute to all the brave men and women in the military. In celebration of Veterans Day, we wanted to share the remarkable story of Neil Heritage. He's a veteran who refused to let his war injury stop him from making history. I spoke with him earlier. It was quite the honor. Take a look.
Neil Heritage's military dream started when he was a child. And at age 16, he joined the British military.
It hadn't really occurred to me that I might end up going to war one day. I just thought I was going to get to travel and mess about, to be honest.
Fast forward to 2004, when the world is 1 year into the Iraq War. 23-year-old Neil is deployed to help American and British troops take back the city of Fallujah.
We're clearing a route one day, which will be a fairly routine task for us. So clearing a route of potential IEDs.
Seconds later, his world is ripped apart.
I'm behind a Warrior vehicle, which is, to explain, it's like an armoured vehicle, looks like a tank. So I'm behind the armoured door of that. The vehicle drives up to the other side, explodes. Both my legs are off instantly.
Within minutes, Neil goes into shock.
I knew I was conscious and I was awake for about 30 minutes after the incident. I could see that my legs were gone. Didn't think I stood much chance of surviving, if I've been honest. I'd seen lots of people with those, with injuries and not as serious as that, not make it.
Neil wakes up 10 days later and starts his difficult road to recovery.
And really, it took a few more years for me to get walking. So I think probably about 5 years post-injury. We had, better prosthetics facilities come into the UK and better technology available to us. And that's probably the time, around the 5 years, where I could kind of walk independently.
Neil then begins pushing his new body. He sets his sights on one of the highest summits in the Swiss Alps and hopes to become the first double amputee to climb the Matterhorn.
And it's really difficult to convince someone to take me on the mountain.
He chooses the nearly 15,000-foot mountain because it's a technical climb and will be less walking and more actual climbing for his prosthetics.
We got less than halfway up the mountain, absolutely exhausted. Definitely the hardest thing I'd ever done. And yeah, we were nowhere near.
Unable to finish, Neil turns back. 2 years later, he tries the climb again.
So this time we get much higher. We get to about 3,800 meters, and then it snows. And the guides turn us around and say, that's it, that's as far as we can go, because the mountain's now too dangerous.
Then in August of this year, Neil gives it one more try.
So here we are, summit of the Matterhorn, first double above the knee, amputee Neil Heritage 2020. How do you feel, Neil?
Pretty amazing, if I'm honest. Beautiful day as well.
Neil, welcome to DBL. First and foremost, thank you for your service and your sacrifice. Happy Veterans Day to you. So after the explosion, you did not wake up for 10 days. What happened when you woke up?
I woke up 10 days later in hospital, and the news that I got when I woke up that was, my fiance was pregnant, had a child on the way.
How did that impact your recovery?
It was massive, actually, because it turned the whole focus from, look what's happened to me, and my career's over, I'm disabled, and it turned the focus. Actually, we've got this time now. We've got to get ready and prepare, and make a good job of being a dad and get myself as ready as I can for that.
It took you 4 years and 3 attempts to summit the Matterhorn. What kept you motivated to keep you trying?
From the outset,
I was pretty convinced it was possible. So that was the motivation to keep going is, can I prove this is possible? And I just, especially after being on the mountain a couple of times, it was one of them things I just couldn't kind of walk away from. So it was just a case I had to keep going back.
After all the hard work, what was your first thought after you finished that climb?
I think on the summit it was really emotional, actually. A combination of being completely exhausted and finally achieving the goal. That me and the team that had been working with me for a few years, we were able to spend about 30 minutes on the summit. Just an incredible moment up there.
Did you yell? Did you what do you do? I can't even imagine. Please paint the picture for me.
Yeah. So as soon as we were on the summit and approaching the summit, I was being filmed, so we had a cameraman there. So I tried to hold my emotions a little bit in check because for that reason I knew I was under pressure. So I was very British about it all, as you can imagine. It was just an amazing moment.
You really inspire me, and I know that you're inspiring so many of our viewers. So for those of you wanting to help Neil's nonprofit, visit his Facebook page, Climb to Recovery. Neil, it has been quite the honor. Thank you for joining DBL.
Thank you.
We'll be right back.
Promotional consideration is brought to you by
The Facebook post says, "We all voted, even my 13-year-old daughter. She learned an important lesson, too, that it is illegal to ask for identification at the polls because we are against voter suppression." The verified team was able to find out the person who posted this is a St. Clair County resident. We've blurred his name because the important thing here is to fact check and stop the spread of misinformation, not to publicly call out private citizens. So we went to county officials. Our source, the St. Clair County Clerk, Thomas Holbrook. When we showed him this post, it was hardly the first time he'd seen it. He said the post has been reported to his office multiple times. Holbrook says he requested an immediate investigation by the state's attorney's office. Investigators from that office and law enforcement looked into it, and they found, quote, the father was being sarcastic and regrets posting this Facebook falsehood. This father and mother did vote. Their daughter did not vote or even attempt to register to vote, end quote. So we can verify this post is false, but it is a good example of just how fast misinformation can spread.
Welcome back to DBL. We love sharing your comments. We have a very strong comment in opposition to you, Jeff, and that's what this show is all about, having that conversation. You can disagree. Zach says, I'm sorry. What I just heard from Jeff is unacceptable. I live in Portland, and we have not lost our city. It is not trashed. Shame on you for pushing this fake narrative. Come to Portland, Jeff. Let us give you a tour to prove our city is doing just fine. COVID has had more impact than any protest on our city.
Okay. Well, I would love to come to Portland. I'm all about like a visual walk around. But how do you figure your autonomous zone is thriving and messages saying free all the people and kill the police? How is that thriving as a city? It's not. And I came from Santa Monica. I've seen the destruction in that city. So there's some problem with your city. Even though maybe where you live it's not, there is a problem with your city and Seattle and all over the United States. So thanks for watching and thanks for writing in.
If you're sticking around, here's what's coming up on DBL. Johnny Depp's biggest fans are getting vocal. We'll tell you what they're demanding. And in True Crime Chronicles, was a woman's death a freak accident or something else? DBL's new every day. We'll be right back.
This is Daily Blast Live. We're talking about what you're talking about. Real, honest, entertaining, live. DBL starts right now.
Welcome to DBL. I'm Sam here with Jeff and Al. Erica joining us from home. So the cast of Family Ties reunited for charity last night. The 80s sitcom featured Michael J. Fox as Alex P. Keaton, a conservative Republican being raised by liberal parents. You remember the show. And during the reunion, Michael Gross, who played the dad, reflected on the politics at the time. Watch.
I love the time that we were together. I mean, that was I think as you'll all agree, a kinder, gentler politics. It was a great time in the same way we hammered out our compromises in the family, and I think that's one of the things that people loved about us.
This show could not have, would not survive now. We couldn't.
It would. We have family members that are on different pages, and we do get along.
I think people want a show like this.
That's interesting. Do you think that a show like that would survive in today's political climate, Jeff?
I like how all the political comments are coming right at me. No, I don't. I don't. And shame on you. I'm just kidding. No, I don't think it could, because back then it seemed so peaceful, right? There were two people on either side of the aisle. They had their differences. It was almost comical at times, and they loved each other in the end. Today's climate, friends, family like this are broken up. People are outraged on Facebook and social media because of this topic. It's insane, and I don't think we could have a show that honestly depicts what people are feeling in America these days.
Yeah, and also the dynamic, Sam, is way different. You know, that was the reason that Alex was a conservative, is, and we saw this a lot with the children of the air quotes hippies, is hippies are like, oh, we just let Jeff run around in the field, and I don't know where my kid is. I don't know. And like, those kids rebelled against that and became yuppies and uptight and moved to the suburbs and did things on the schedule because they kind of craved that lifestyle that they didn't get from that parent. So that kind of generation is gone at this point. And I think in terms of politics, Sam, and I want to hear what you and Eric have to say about this, I think the politics has changed because there's so much more at stake. It's not just about, oh, did he blow the budget? Like, this is people's lives.
Yeah, Erica, I think that's a really important point by Al. I mean, of course, social issues and racial justice issues are have forever been a stain on our record when it comes to America. However, right now they seem to be front and center. So it's putting people on two completely different sides with for many people, there's no negotiating. Do you think a show like Family Ties would somehow break that up and promote civility, or do you think that's just, it's not even possible because it comes off insensitive?
I just disagree with everything that was said, because I think that we have a habit of acting like we're the first to ever do it. The dynamics may change, the subject matter may change, but the idea of things changing from generation to generation is nothing new. I mean, if you really are talking about most family households, even if there's differing opinions, it's not as polarizing as people really want to believe. I do understand there are extremes, but for the most part, think about last Thanksgiving. I know that was a really long time ago, and that was a whole different world. You have your parents who may feel a certain way based on their experiences, and then you might have the children who are the woke police being like, no, you're wrong and this is why. I mean, these conversations are being had in most households, and in most households they don't involve someone never speaking to the other person again, or someone throwing something and walking out the door. I think these are conversations that are just a part of a growing process in a society and with family. Now, all of this has been very extreme and for very good reason, but at the same time, I think in the middle ground is where most of us end up.
But Erica, you're talking about keeping that in-house, as in the older days, right? Now, when you have that in-house...
No, I'm talking about right now in our homes, just like Family Ties and the way the dynamics were with the family. I'm talking about family dynamics.
Right. So I'm saying nowadays, people split up, or they go to their rooms and are mad, and they don't just, wait it out and then talk and afterwards. They go on social media, and it fuels the fire. It fuels the steam to their side of things. And now all of a sudden, they found someone that agrees with their point of view, and now they're more into the computer than they are with talking it out with their own family or best friend. That's where I'm saying it's different from generation to generation. Social media is the difference in our generation.
All right.
I mean, I'm not disagreeing that that's happening, but I do understand that it's not happening for everyone. And I think that we really need to get to a place where we're acknowledging, we can have these conversations, and these conversations are happening all over the country. It doesn't have to be racist versus not racist. I mean, it might just be a difference in ideology, which is generally what's happening. I mean, it's not like I had to remove a ton of my friends and people around me because I just discovered they were racist. If they were racist, they likely were not in my circle.
Agreed. Agreed.
Let's get to the next story. Johnny Depp's fans are coming to his defense. The actor was recently asked to quit the latest Fantastic Beasts movie after he lost his libel suit against a British newspaper. The article claimed that Johnny was abusive toward his then wife Amber Heard, but Johnny's fans started a petition asking Warner Brothers to give him back his role. So far, it has more than 150,000 signatures. Johnny's Instagram page was flooded with well wishes. One fan wrote, "We love you, Johnny. You deserve so much more. Thank you for everything. We'll always support you." This is what I've been saying from the beginning. And I get that this is a convoluted case. I understand that there's two sides and then there's the truth. But I've been saying from the very beginning, Johnny Depp, and I know he just lost his role, but his image, so to speak, has been unscathed. He is still for some reason, he's an anomaly to the Me Too movement and to people canceling him.
Sam, he just lost his job, and there was a front page headline that said he's a wife beater. His image has been scathed.
It really has not when you look on social media.
He lost his job.
I agree that he lost his job, but you see his fans for some reason, not even go to Kevin Spacey's social media. Go to anybody else that's been canceled out, whether it be Louis C.K. They are, I'm sure their most recent posts, still to this day, people are calling them different things, right? What was that?
We got a couple more minutes, Abe.
Okay, I got to move on, I guess. Okay.
No, you're right. Listen,
no,
here's
I got to move on because I'm constantly being told to move on.
We have one more story. The difference, you mentioned Kevin Spacey. He was convicted in a court of law, right? Or at least, was he innocent on that first trial, but he's still going to more trials?
I think so, yes.
Johnny Depp hasn't been convicted. I think maybe that's a difference.
That was the gray area. He kind of was. He was like, he was convicted of 12 of the 14 counts, but they weren't criminal. But a judge found that 12 of the 14 counts were at least plausible enough that it helped in the libel case, saying that he can't say that the newspaper unfairly labeled him because the judge labeled him like that. So he did lose in a court of law.
Right, and Kevin Spacey wasn't convicted.
But it's a gray area of losing.
All right. Next story. Jason Momoa revealed he was broke after his character was killed off on Game of Thrones. So Jason famously played Khal Drogo, but his time on the show was cut short after just one season. Jason told InStyle magazine he couldn't find work after his early exit, and he and his wife Lisa Bonet struggled to pay bills, saying at one point they were starving. The couple, who had 2 toddlers at the time, were also in debt. Things did turn around when Jason got the role of Aquaman. Erica, a lot of people aren't buying this for some reason. I think a lot of everyday Americans don't understand that if you're not, even if you're an actor, even if you're famous, that doesn't equate to consistent work. It also doesn't equate to wealth. So a lot of actors that we know and love do go through times of unemployment and debt and being broke.
Well, Sam, no one wants to believe that at one point Aquaman was starving. That's just not something that sits well with us, because if Aquaman was starving, then what hope does the rest of us have? But I know you're absolutely right. I shouldn't be speaking to this. You should be speaking to this.
I think we just have a few seconds left. I don't think I have enough time to talk about it. I wish I did. Erica, stick around. Coming up on DBL. A log rolls off a cliff and kills an innocent bystander. Was it a tragic accident, or did someone do it on purpose? Don't miss True Crime Chronicles next.
Welcome back to DBL. An Ohio woman's death shocked the nation a year ago when a log rolled off a cliff, killing her. It was called a freak accident, but the truth is revealing much more. Here's an update in True Crime Chronicles.
Victoria Schaefer was well known in her Ohio community. The 44-year-old was a wife, a mother of 4, and an avid volunteer.
Victoria was a loving and caring person.
On Labor Day 2019, she was taking photos of high school students at Hocking Hills State Park. What should have been a normal day on the job turned into her family's worst nightmare. Victoria was struck by a 74-pound, 6-foot log that came tumbling down from the cliff above her, killing her instantly. A month later, police were tipped off on a cryptic text message between 2 teenagers. Reading one of them had, quote, done something serious in the park. Police finally had their suspects, 2 16-year-olds, Jaden Churchis and Jordan Buckley.
Your son did something that resulted in the death of a lady. No!
They both denied any involvement.
I don't think it's funny. I think that's the only reason why I'm telling you all this, because I think it's serious.
And then they pointed the finger at each other.
Who kicked it? Jordan. Jordan kicked it? Yes. Jaden kicked off a branch. Not a branch, it was a log. It was a big log, like probably this wide, this long. He kicked it, and it rolled off the cliff, and it made a loud bang, so we ran.
Victoria's family was shocked and heartbroken to learn she was in fact murdered.
You were responsible for the death of my precious child. And in doing so, you have inflicted a pain on me and my family so deep and intense that it will never leave our hearts.
The teens were charged with murder, involuntary manslaughter, and reckless homicide, both tried as adults.
Jordan, do you understand the void they now have in their lives?
Yes, Your Honor.
That will never be filled. Do you understand that?
Yes, Your Honor.
After hours of testimony,
understand that my family and I are spending the rest of our lives missing Victoria's hugs, her photography, her kind and gentle heart, and everything she was to us.
Jaden and Jordan agreed to a plea deal.
I'm so sorry for what has happened, and I'm so sorry that I was too big of a coward to come forward and speak about what happened that day.
I know that no matter what I say, nothing will bring your loved one back. I know what I did was wrong. I hope that you know I never intended to hurt anyone that day at Hocking Hills.
Both teens were convicted only on the involuntary manslaughter charge and sentenced to 3 years in juvenile detention. Though heartbroken, the Schaefer family did what they say Victoria would have wanted.
Our family chose to pursue a juvenile court decision that would provide you with a better chance of changing your life's direction and a second chance in life.
Earlier, Tori and I spoke with a reporter who was inside the courtroom for the teen's sentencing. Let's take a look.
We are joined by reporter Brittany Bailey from 10 TV in Columbus, Ohio. Thank you for joining us. What a tragic story. This is insane. 2 teens forced a 74-pound log off a cliff, killing Victoria Schaefer below, who was just doing her job taking photos. A year later, those 2 teens were just charged. You were in the courtroom for their sentencing. Brittany, can you explain their charges and what did they have to say?
Well, I think this really evolved over the year that this happened. This actually happened back on Labor Day of last year in 2019. And at first, everyone thought it was just a terrible act of nature. A log comes rolling off a cliff in a wilderness area, and then it evolves. And we pretty quickly find out from investigators that it was maybe not an accident. And I think that shocked everyone. And then about a month after that, all of a sudden, 2 teenagers, both 16 at the time, were arrested, and they were then charged with murder, involuntary manslaughter, and reckless homicide and charged as an adult. They ended up both taking plea deals where they would plead only to involuntary manslaughter in exchange for having the other charges, murder and reckless homicide, dropped.
So, Brittany, you mentioned the teens were tried as adults, yet they were sentenced to serve time in a youth detention facility, not a federal prison. Why is that?
Yes, you're correct about that. And I think that was just the latest move in this case that shocked a lot of people. But there is a reason for it. These plea deals were worked out with the help and the input from the families. And I think the family took some time to think about that. They talked through the case and they thought about what Victoria Schaefer wanted. And they said in court that they wanted to give both of the boys a second chance at life. Those boys both apologized in court and said they were appreciative of the second chance.
So you think the testimony from the husband and the family shortened their sentence in the judge's eyes?
Absolutely. And they all talked about that very openly. The judge even said to the teenagers in court, you realize that you're given a chance by the very person who doesn't have a chance at life anymore. And they just knew she was such a sweet person with a warm heart and would not have wanted to see this tragedy impact 2 more young lives despite what they had done.
Do you know how her family's coping? Because I can't even imagine. And how has this sort of affected the whole community? Because it ripples out.
There are a lot of feelings on both sides, but I can tell you, a lot of people are impressed by the strength of this family. You not only heard the pain of the loss, but you heard the willingness to forgive. And that was, I think, most incredible.
For the latest on this case and to learn more, visit 10tv.com. Brittany, thank you so much. You can also listen to a new podcast episode out about this case, which I will be doing. Just search True Crime Chronicles on your favorite podcast player. Thank you so much for reporting. We are thankful for your presence in the courtroom and in the case. Thanks again. We'll be right back.
Help. Welcome back to DBL. You have a month left to make a very big decision that impacts your health. We're talking about open enrollment. Here are 3 ways changing plans can save money in today's DBL Health Alert presented by Health Markets. First, if you switch from regular Medicare to Medicare Advantage or vice versa, it can save you tons. Different plans can lower premiums. Second, explore all Medicare Advantage plans. There are so many different types. Look at the deductible, copay, and out-of-pocket maximums to save money. Finally, by adding, switching, or dropping prescription drug coverage, you can save a lot. When it comes to your health, we've made it easy to find the best and most cost-effective Medicare Advantage plans. Just call 1-800-800-9974.
Yeah, it's I say to anybody, and I had to do this myself, anything you don't know, Google it. Don't be too embarrassed, because the jargon is what intimidates people. At the mechanic, you're like, I don't know what my air flow shaft is. Google it, figure it out, and see how much it costs, and make sure you're not getting ripped off.
I still get confused.
Your health care. Yeah.
I get confused every time. I go to Jeff, I go to our human resources, Jessica Hobbs.
Go to her.
It confuses me.
Don't come to me.
I
I'm going to tell you the wrong way.
I do have a comment. Did you guys want me to save that comment, or... save it for the next block. Stay tuned because Jeff, the viewer that you responded to, just responded back.
My Portland friend.
Yeah, so I'm going to read that. We're going to keep that conversation going. We'll be right back.
Promotional consideration is brought to you by
Tomorrow on DBL, from Braxton Family Values to Wanda Braxton, how the famous family is grappling with Tamar's highly publicized suicide attempt.
Tamar has good days and she has great days, so I think that laughter and family really helped her a lot.
That's tomorrow on DBL.
Welcome back to DBL. So it is a tradition at the Masters that during a practice round, golfers skip the ball across the pond to see how close they can get to the hole. But watch how close Spaniard Jon Rahm got.
Going.
Yes, how satisfying is that? Can you believe that was his second hole-in-one in 2 days? But remember, those were just practice rounds. It also happened to be his birthday, so he got some birthday luck.
It's bigger than a practice, Sam.
Okay, well, we got to get to Jeff's response because I teased it. So this is what our show is all about. So the same viewer wrote you back, Jeff. He says, hey, guys, thank you for reading my email. For Jeff, you are 100% right. Calling for dead cops or anyone else is completely wrong. But as you said, that is a problem of the country. It's not a Portland-specific problem, and that behavior is very much a minority of cases. But much love for you for having open discussions like you do and appreciate the opportunity to be heard. The offer stands for Jeff. We're happy to have you in our city.
I don't like that one bit, Sam.
Listen, I would love to come to Portland and have boots on the ground, right? I'm judging a city completely by what I see on the news, and you're absolutely right as well. I'm glad we could have this discourse because what I see on the news maybe isn't a proper representation of what Portland is. I'd like to have somebody who knows the city, who knows people in the city. If it wasn't for COVID, I would be on the next plane out because these are things that I love to do. So seriously, thank you for writing in. You could tell I'm passionate, I'm real. This is how we all are on this panel. So thanks for writing in. And it's a conversation that I think the country needs to have. Maybe not this specifically, but about everything.
Jeff, we need yelling for it sweeps. We need yell. Call him something.
No,
call him a name.
I'm going to call him my friend. I'm going to call him my friend.
And what's cool too is now you have someone. His name's Zach. Now you have someone. He invited you. So
Zach.
You can, once the pandemic's over, Zach, be careful what you wish for because Mr. Jeff loves to travel.
I love it. I love it. Zach, get the couch ready or perhaps a spare bedroom. I don't know.
Erica, thanks for joining DBL's New Every Day. We'll see you tomorrow, same time, same place. Bye, guys.
Today on Daily Blast Live.
Shooting looters? A new proposal in Florida would let armed citizens protect local businesses. DBL Nation, are you for or against this? In today's True Crime Chronicles, a woman's death, thought to be a freak accident, turns into a murder investigation.
You were responsible for the death of my precious child.
Why 2 teens are now serving time. In honor of Veterans Day, the inspiring story of a man who didn't let his war injuries stop him from making history.
How do you feel, Neil? Pretty amazing, if I'm honest.
And a family ties reunion. Would a show like this work today?
Yeah, because this show could not have, would not survive now. We couldn't.
It would.
Real, honest, entertaining, live. DBL starts right now.
Welcome to DBL. It is Wednesday, November 11th. I'm Sam here with Jeff and Al. Erica joining us from home. And very important day today. Today is Veterans Day, a day where we honor the men and women who stood up to protect our country. So did you know that Veterans Day was originally Armistice Day, marking the end of the First World War in 1919? So there are about 17.4 million veterans, and of those, more than 1.6 million are women. Currently, there are about 37,000 veterans experiencing homelessness. That's about 11% of the homeless population. So do you have any vets in your life, DBL Nation? Write in. I know that we do. Erica, you posted a very special photo today on your Instagram of Papa Roosevelt. Tell us about that.
This photo is from 1968. My dad was in the Air Force, Staff Sergeant Roosevelt Cobb. We actually got together as a family last night to celebrate some things and had a little conversation about this photo. It's just really special because I know why my father enlisted and I know what his service meant to him. I know that he has continued to stay in touch with the men that he served with and has really been an advocate for a handful of them. So it's just really important. We went to the Vietnam Memorial every year, and we took our piece of paper and scratched out one of his friends who died during war. It's just something that we've always done as a tradition.
It's a tradition that I know many of our viewers know, many of us know on the panel. My dad served also, Eric, in Vietnam, 2 tours, and been to that wall, practiced the very same thing. That's actually my grandpa. So my grandpa served in World War II. That's my other grandpa who also served in World War II. But the grandpa in that newspaper, Grandpa Shocker, in that newspaper article, the reason why the newspaper covered it is because my great-grandmother had to send all 5 of her sons.
Oh my God, that's like Saving Private Ryan.
It's exactly like Saving Private Ryan, and in fact, she got a letter from the president thanking her because she sacrificed 5 of her sons. What about you, Jeff?
Yeah, my dad, here's a photo of my dad who's in Vietnam too. So mind the flash, my mom took that photo for me and she doesn't know how to get those out of the picture yet.
We get the point. That's awesome.
That was him.
Is that your dad?
That's my dad, yeah. So shout out to all the veterans out there.
Amen.
And I gotta tell Erica, her dad looks just as handsome today.
Woo! Yeah, and Albert.
Good looking man. Yeah, I mean, for mine, you know, obviously my dad served and his brothers did as well. But for me, like, and I've talked about this before on the show, really quickly, when I found out that I booked DBL, I was still on the fence, and I had just come back from a USO tour, and I don't know if we have the pictures. I was in Japan and Okinawa. In the corner, you can barely see me in Ramstein. That's Germany at an Air Force base. Camp Bondsteel in the bottom corner, that's me in Kosovo. There were 18-year-old recruits there that had been in freezing cold, dark Kosovo for 2 weeks that were thanking me for coming to visit. The picture in the top corner was me in South Korea, and that experience, talking to those soldiers and seeing how brave they were and how long they were separated from their family, was the reason that I decided to come to Denver and leave my children in school in Los Angeles. So they have a direct impact on me sitting here and a direct impact on all of us sitting here. So
beautiful story.
You so appreciative of that story. You tell it 100 times.
Dude,
it's the
so
first
honest.
time, every time, and it shows like your care for that. You've done a lot of things in this business, and you talk about that like it's your most passionate.
Was because I was like, there's no way. I was like, I'm not going to Denver and leaving my kid. They're my life.
Yeah.
You know, and talking to these people, I'm like, I've been away from home for 18 months, and I have a 6-year-old. I'm like, if you can do that, I can get my butt on a flight every other weekend and go to LA.
Amen.
So
one of my favorite sayings is, you don't know them all, meaning veterans, but we owe them all. So we thank all the veterans out there. Coming up in a few minutes, in fact, we're going to have a remarkable story about a veteran who overcame his war wounds to climb one of the world's most difficult mountains. You do not want to miss it. Now, a lot of people are rethinking, we're switching gears here, their Thanksgiving plans. So as the coronavirus surge continues to get worse, right now there are more than 61,000 Americans hospitalized with the disease, and our 7-day average for new cases in the country is well above 100,000. So with the pandemic really heating up, the CDC has issued some new guidelines for Thanksgiving. So here they are. They're strongly encouraging people to keep celebrations to only people in your household. But they say if you're getting together with other people, you should bring your own plate, your own cup and utensils. They also suggest using single-serving condiments and, of course, keeping your distance. Also, wear your mask, except for when you're actually eating. And finally, they also recommend that you dine outside. Or if you have to be inside because of weather, make sure you crack open those windows. Now, what's interesting is a lot of our DBL Nation yesterday, because we brought up Thanksgiving yesterday, were writing in, and please continue to write in, saying that they are no longer going to do their what they thought would be their Thanksgiving plans because of the new CDC guidelines. So has anybody here changed their plans? Anybody thought they were going home? You're no longer going to go home?
I'm on the fence, Jeff. I'm assuming you're staying here?
Yeah, I'm staying here. Well, I mean, our plan all along was when they started to skip Thanksgiving, unfortunately, and keep our fingers crossed for Christmas, and hopefully we can make it back then. But listen, you have to do what you have to do. It's hard enough to get people to wear a mask these days, right? To have all those guidelines that you just mentioned, Sam, people follow those for Thanksgiving. You know, you're affecting my family, too. That's what it comes down to. I'm not doing this because I want your family and your grandparents and your ill to survive. So the sacrifices that people aren't making for other people is shameful in my mind.
Erica?
Well, Anthony and I are celebrating Thanksgiving together, just the two of us, and I know that completely bums out my parents, but it's just something that we really feel like, since we took so many precautions to get home earlier this year, but since everyone's going to be traveling, it's just too risky.
Yeah, and we're on the finishing leg, right? When you look at the pandemic and knowing that a vaccine is near, like, we can't give up now.
Right.
And I know we're all fatigued. I'm fatigued. I want to see my family. I want to see my parents. And I read your comments, DBL Nation. Everybody is over it, but we're almost to the end, and we cannot falter now, because that will end up in more loss of life.
And Sam, to your point, losing anybody is a tragedy, but what if you lost somebody the Thanksgiving before we got the vaccine, when we were right there at the end? So I mean,
that would haunt you.
It would haunt you forever. Right. So we might just have to miss this one, chalk this one up, and look forward to the next 4.
Yeah, and when I mean shameful, I'm not shaming people who are getting together for Thanksgiving. Do what you want to do. I'm saying the everyday thing, social distancing, wearing a mask. We're still talking about it 8 months later and urging people to talk about it. It's like, come on.
Yeah,
you know?
It's time.
Right there with you. Erica, stick around. Coming up on DBL, he may have lost his legs in Iraq, but one veteran didn't lose sight of his dreams. How he made history climbing one of the world's most dangerous mountains. Plus, Johnny Depp's most loyal fans, well, they are coming to his defense. What they're doing to muster support. And Florida's governor is advocating for stricter laws against rioters and looters. Both sides of that controversial debate coming up next.
See yourself.
The Facebook post says, "We all voted, even my 13-year-old daughter. She learned an important lesson, too, that it is illegal to ask for identification at the polls because we are against voter suppression." The verified team was able to find out the person who posted this is a St. Clair County resident. We've blurred his name because the important thing here is to fact check and stop the spread of misinformation, not to publicly call out private citizens. So we went to county officials. Our source is St. Clair County Clerk Thomas Holbrook. When we showed him this post, it was hardly the first time he'd seen it. He said the post has been reported to his office multiple times. Holbrook says he requested an immediate investigation by the state's attorney's office. Investigators from that office and law enforcement looked into it, and they found, quote, the father was being sarcastic and regrets posting this Facebook falsehood. This father and mother did vote. Their daughter did not vote or even attempt to register to vote, end quote. So we can verify this post is false, but it is a good example of just how fast misinformation can spread.
Welcome back to DBL. There's been a lot of unrest in the country in recent months, and now some people are wondering, should you be able to shoot looters who are ransacking your store? Well, Florida Governor Ron DeSantis has drafted new anti-mob legislation. That's what it's called, and it's a serious expansion of the Stand Your Ground laws there in Florida. According to the Miami Herald, some worry the legislation would allow armed citizens to shoot and potentially kill anyone suspected of looting. The legislation also includes a measure that would make protesting that blocks traffic a third-degree felony. It would also grant immunity to drivers who unintentionally kill or injure a protester blocking traffic. So this all sounds very controversial, in my opinion. So DBL Nation, we want to hear what you think. Do you support this new draft legislation? Let us know. Yes or no. We're going to monitor that. Go to dblvote.com to weigh in. Jeff, what do you make of this?
Listen, something needs to be done, right? I don't know to this extreme. People are going to get away with running people over in the street. That's not good, or be able to just shoot random people whenever you want. Listen, if you're being attacked, I understand defending yourself, but something needs to be done. We've lost cities like Seattle, Portland, the city of Santa Monica. The police were told to stand down while people destroyed that city. Those cities might not come back in 5 years, maybe 10 years, maybe ever. People are moving out of cities because they're so destroyed. Something needs to be done. To this extreme, I don't think so. I think we need to have a conversation, a real conversation, to stop a lot of this, because a lot of our cities, people aren't going to move. They're moving out of. They're not moving into.
Yeah, Jeff, I think what bothers me about this conversation is kind of the vague language that we're using. Like, what's the actual definition of protesting and looting? And who are these people that we are randomly deputizing to use their weapons? What is somebody that's suspected of looting? What does that look like? What if I am the cable man and I'm checking the cable outside? You could say, I suspected this man of trying to break into my property. Could you shoot me then? That's a fair, you can suspect that. But we have laws and we have procedures by trained professionals to avoid situations like that could be unfortunate on both sides. So I think when we start throwing laws around like this, ask ourselves, will we apply this to healthcare? If, Jeff, I thought that you had a heart condition, I have no training, could I just open you up and try and do some surgery? Like, we have professionals for that. So, like, let's let the professionals and the lawmakers make laws without vague language so we don't run into bad situations.
Yeah, I don't think this is wrong. This is absolutely wrong, Erica. And I see you making a face, and I would imagine you agree.
I'm so confused.
Yeah.
I feel like this conversation needs a little bit more energy. We do understand that these very loose language and loose qualifications are what resulted in the death of Trayvon Martin, what resulted in the death of the young ally in Charlottesville. You're talking about a state where in 1920, November 3rd of 1920, a riot ensued that is sitting on DeSantis's desk in terms of a bill in order to honor the fallen of over 60 individuals, all in a black community, based on one black man deciding to vote. If you want to have a conversation about rioting and looting, DeSantis, have a conversation about Ocoee, okay? Have a conversation about that, because at the end of the day, when we start talking about stand your ground and you're putting property over people in places and folks who already feel emboldened to just shoot and ask questions later anyway, there cannot be a slippery slope. I need a little bit more energy behind this to say that this is abhorrent.
Yeah, it's
abhorrent.
I'm with
at
you.
Best.
I'm with you, Erica. I can't even see the other side on this one, especially because of the very fact that, let's say somebody does loot, right? Let's say somebody does riot. Of course that's wrong. But the sentence for that, the consequence for that is not death. And this feels like the wild, wild west to me. This feels like we're going backwards.
Most of our riots take place after sports championships. So could I roll down if the Cavs win and just start opening fire on people?
Yeah.
How does that work?
Yeah. Okay. Let's look at the megaphone. 62% of you, do you support this new draft legislation? 62% of you say yes. I don't understand. I feel like we're going backwards. Today's Veterans Day. It feels wrong today. It's going to feel wrong tomorrow. Coming up on DBL, the cast of Family Ties reunites for one night only. Should a show featuring a politically divided family work today? And meet a veteran who lost his legs on the battlefield, but not his determination to climb a mountain. His inspirational story next.
If you
Welcome back to DBL. Today, we are paying tribute to all the brave men and women in the military. In celebration of Veterans Day, we wanted to share the remarkable story of Neil Heritage. He's a veteran who refused to let his war injury stop him from making history. I spoke with him earlier. It was quite the honor. Take a look.
Neil Heritage's military dream started when he was a child. And at age 16, he joined the British military.
It hadn't really occurred to me that I might end up going to war one day. I just thought I was going to get to travel and mess about, to be honest.
Fast forward to 2004, when the world is 1 year into the Iraq War. 23-year-old Neil is deployed to help American and British troops take back the city of Fallujah.
We're clearing a route one day, which will be a fairly routine task for us. So clearing a route of potential IEDs.
Seconds later, his world is ripped apart.
I'm behind a Warrior vehicle, which is, to explain, like an armoured vehicle, looks like a tank. So I'm behind the armoured door of that. The vehicle drives up to the other side, explodes. Both my legs are off instantly.
Within minutes, Neil goes into shock.
I knew I was conscious and I was awake for about 30 minutes after the incident. I could see that my legs were gone. Didn't think I stood much chance of surviving, if I'd been honest. I'd seen lots of people with those, with injuries and not as serious as that, not make it.
Neil wakes up 10 days later and starts his difficult road to recovery.
And really, it took a few more years for me to get walking. So I think probably about 5 years post-injury. We had, better prosthetics facilities come into the UK and better technology available to us. And that's probably the time, around the 5 years, where I could kind of walk independently.
Neil then begins pushing his new body. He sets his sights on one of the highest summits in the Swiss Alps and hopes to become the first double amputee to climb the Matterhorn.
And it's really difficult to convince someone to take me on the mountain.
He chooses the nearly 15,000-foot mountain because it's a technical climb and will be less walking and more actual climbing for his prosthetics.
We got less than halfway up the mountain, absolutely exhausted. Definitely the hardest thing I'd ever done. And yeah, we were nowhere near.
Unable to finish, Neil turns back. 2 years later, he tries the climb again.
So this time we get much higher. We get to about 3,800 meters, and then it snows. And the guides turn us around and say, that's it, that's as far as we can go, because the mountain's now too dangerous.
Then in August of this year, Neil gives it one more try.
So here we are, summit of the Matterhorn, first double above the knee, amputee Neil Heritage 2020. How do you feel, Neil? Pretty amazing, if I'm honest. Beautiful day as well.
Neil, welcome to DBL. First and foremost, thank you for your service and your sacrifice. Happy Veterans Day to you. So after the explosion, you did not wake up for 10 days. What happened when you woke up?
I woke up 10 days later in hospital, and the news that I got when I woke up that was, my fiance was pregnant, had a child on the way.
How did that impact your recovery?
It was massive, actually, because it turned the whole focus from, look what's happened to me, and my career's over, I'm disabled, and it turned the focus. Actually, we've got this time now. We've got to get ready and prepare, and make a good job of being a dad, and get myself as ready as I can for that.
It took you 4 years and 3 attempts to summit the Matterhorn. What kept you motivated to keep you trying?
From the outset, I was pretty convinced it was possible, so that was the motivation to keep going. Is can I prove this is possible? And I just, especially after being on the mountain a couple of times, it was one of them things I just couldn't kind of walk away from. So it was just a case I had to keep going back.
After all the hard work, what was your first thought after you finished that climb?
I think on the summit, it was really emotional, actually. A combination of being completely exhausted and finally achieving the goal. That me and the team that had been working with me for a few years, we were able to spend about 30 minutes on the summit. Just an incredible moment up there.
Did you yell? Did you, what do you do? I can't even imagine. Please paint the picture for me.
Yeah, so as soon as we were on the summit and approaching the summit, I was being filmed, so we had a cameraman there. So I tried to hold my emotions a little bit in check, because for that reason I knew I was under pressure. So I was very British about it all, as you can imagine. It was just an amazing moment.
You really inspire me, and I know that you're inspiring so many of our viewers. So for those of you wanting to help Neil's nonprofit, visit his Facebook page, Climb to Recovery. Neil, it has been quite the honor. Thank you for joining DBL.
Thank you.
We'll be right back.
Promotional consideration is brought to you by
Welcome back to DBL. We love sharing your comments. We have a very strong comment in opposition to you, Jeff, and that's what this show is all about, having that conversation. You can disagree. Zach says, I'm sorry. What I just heard from Jeff is unacceptable. I live in Portland, and we have not lost our city. It is not trashed. Shame on you for pushing this fake narrative. Come to Portland, Jeff. Let us give you a tour to prove our city is doing just fine. COVID has had more impact than any protest on our city.
Okay. Well, I would love to come to Portland. I'm all about like a visual walk around. But how do you figure your autonomous zone is thriving and messages saying free all the people and kill the police? How is that thriving as a city? It's not. And I came from Santa Monica. I seen the destruction in that city. So there's some problem with your city. Even though maybe where you live it's not, there is a problem with your city and Seattle and all over the United States. So thanks for watching and thanks for writing in.
If you're sticking around, here's what's coming up on DBL. Johnny Depp's biggest fans are getting vocal. We'll tell you what they're demanding. And in True Crime Chronicles, was a woman's death a freak accident or something else? DBL's new every day. We'll be right back.
This is Daily Blast Live. We're talking about what you're talking about. Real, honest, entertaining, live. DBL starts right now.
Welcome to DBL. I'm Sam here with Jeff and Al. Erica joining us from home. So the cast of Family Ties reunited for charity last night. The 80s sitcom featured Michael J. Fox as Alex P. Keaton, a conservative Republican being raised by liberal parents. You remember the show. And during the reunion, Michael Gross, who played the dad, reflected on the politics at the time. Watch.
I love the time that we were together. I mean, that was I think as you'll all agree, a kinder, gentler politics. It was a great time in the same way we hammered out our compromises in the family, and I think that's one of the things that people loved about us.
This show could not have
It would. We have family members that are on different pages, and we do get along.
I think people want a show like this.
That's interesting. Do you think that a show like that would survive in today's political climate, Jeff?
I like how all the political comments are coming right at me. No, I don't. I don't. And shame on you. I'm just kidding. No, I don't think it could, because back then it seemed so peaceful, right? There were two people on either side of the aisle. They had their differences. It was almost comical at times, and they loved each other in the end. today's climate, friends, family like this are broken up. People are outraged on Facebook and social media because of this topic. It's insane, and I don't think we could have a show that honestly depicts what people are feeling in America these days.
Yeah, and also the dynamic, Sam, is way different. You know, that was the reason that Alex was a conservative, is, and we saw this a lot with the children of the air quotes hippies, is the hippies are like, oh, we just let Jeff run around in the field, and I don't know where my kid is. I don't know. And like, those kids rebelled against that and became yuppies and uptight and moved to the suburbs and did things on the schedule because they kind of craved that lifestyle that they didn't get from that parent. So that kind of generation is gone at this point. And I think in terms of politics, Sam, and I want to hear what you and Eric have to say about this, I think the politics has changed because there's so much more at stake. It's not just about, oh, did he blow the budget? Like, this is people's lives.
Yeah, Erica, I think that's a really important point by Al. I mean, of course, social issues and racial justice issues are have forever been a stain on our record when it comes to America. However, right now they seem to be front and center. So it's putting people on two completely different sides with for many people, there's no negotiating. Do you think a show like Family Ties would somehow break that up and promote civility, or do you think it's not even possible because it comes off insensitive?
I just disagree with everything that was said, because I think that we have a habit of acting like we're the first to ever do it. The dynamics may change, the subject matter may change, but the idea of things changing from generation to generation is nothing new. I mean, if you really are talking about most family households, even if there's differing opinions, it's not as polarizing as people really want to believe. I do understand there are extremes, but for the most part, think about last Thanksgiving. I know that was a really long time ago, and that was a whole different world. You have your parents who may feel a certain way based on their experiences, and then you might have the children who are the woke police being like, no, you're wrong and this is why. I mean, these conversations are being had in most households, and in most households they don't involve someone never speaking to the other person again, or someone throwing something and walking out the door. I think these are conversations that are just a part of a growing process in a society and with family. Now, all of this has been very extreme and for very good reason, but at the same time, I think in the middle ground is where most of us end up.
But Erica, you're talking about keeping that in-house, as in the older days, right? Now, when you have that in-house...
No, I'm talking about right now in our homes, just like Family Ties and the way the dynamics were with the family. I'm talking about family dynamics.
Right. So I'm saying nowadays, people split up, or they go to their rooms and are mad, and they don't just, wait it out and then talk and afterwards. They go on social media, and it fuels the fire. It fuels the steam to their side of things. And now all of a sudden, they found someone that agrees with their point of view, and now they're more into the computer than they are with talking it out with their own family or best friend. That's where I'm saying it's different from generation to generation. Social media is the difference in our generation.
All right.
I mean, I'm not disagreeing that that's happening, but I do understand that it's not happening for everyone. And I think that we really need to get to a place where we're acknowledging, we can have these conversations, and these conversations are happening all over the country. It doesn't have to be racist versus not racist. I mean, it might just be a difference in ideology, which is generally what's happening. I mean, it's not like I had to remove a ton of my friends and people around me because I just discovered they were racist. If they were racist, they likely were not in my circle.
Agreed. Agreed.
Let's get to the next story. Johnny Depp's fans are coming to his defense. The actor was recently asked to quit the latest Fantastic Beasts movie after he lost his libel suit against a British newspaper. The article claimed that Johnny was abusive toward his then wife Amber Heard, but Johnny's fans started a petition asking Warner Brothers to give him back his role. So far, it has more than 150,000 signatures. Johnny's Instagram page was flooded with well wishes. One fan wrote, "We love you, Johnny. You deserve so much more. Thank you for everything. We'll always support you." This is what I've been saying from the beginning. And I get that this is a convoluted case. I understand that there's two sides and then there's the truth. But I've been saying from the very beginning, Johnny Depp, and I know he just lost his role, but his image, so to speak, has been unscathed. He's still For some reason, he's an anomaly to the Me Too movement and to people canceling him.
Sam, he just lost his job, and there was a front page headline that said he's a wife beater. His image has been scathed.
It really has not when you look on social media.
His job.
I agree that he lost his job, but you see his fans for some reason, not even go to Kevin Spacey's social media. Go to anybody else that's been canceled out, whether it be Louis C.K. They are, I'm sure their most recent posts, still to this day, people are calling them different things, right? What was that?
We got a couple more minutes here.
Okay, I got to move on, I guess. Okay.
No, you're right. Listen,
no,
here's
I got to move on because I'm constantly being told to move on.
We have one more story. What, the difference, you mentioned Kevin Spacey, he was convicted in a court of law, right? Or at least, was he innocent on that first trial, but he's still going to more trials?
I think so, yes.
Johnny Depp hasn't been convicted. I think maybe that's a difference.
That was the gray area. He kind of was, he was convicted of 12 of the 14 counts, but they weren't criminal. But a judge found that 12 of the 14 counts were at least plausible enough that it helped in the libel case, saying that he can't say that the newspaper unfairly labeled him because the judge labeled him like that. So he did lose in a court of law.
Right, and Kevin Spacey wasn't convicted.
But it's a gray area of losing.
All right. Next story. Jason Momoa revealed he was broke after his character was killed off on Game of Thrones. So Jason famously played Khal Drogo, but his time on the show was cut short after just one season. Jason told InStyle magazine he couldn't find work after his early exit, and he and his wife Lisa Bonet struggled to pay bills, saying at one point they were starving. The couple, who had 2 toddlers at the time, were also in debt. Things did turn around when Jason got the role of Aquaman. Erica, a lot of people aren't buying this for some reason. I think a lot of everyday Americans don't understand that if you're not, even if you're an actor, even if you're famous, that doesn't equate to consistent work. It also doesn't equate to wealth. So a lot of actors that we know and love do go through times of unemployment and debt and being broke.
Well, Sam, no one wants to believe that at one point Aquaman was starving. That's just not something that sits well with us, because if Aquaman was starving, then what hope does the rest of us have? But I know you're absolutely right. I shouldn't be speaking to this. You should be speaking to this.
I think we just have a few seconds left. I don't think I have enough time to talk about it. I wish I did. Erica, stick around. Coming up on DBL. A log rolls off a cliff and kills an innocent bystander. Was it a tragic accident, or did someone do it on purpose? Don't miss True Crime Chronicles next.
The Verify team is here for you when it comes to politics. We avoid spin and opinions and just focus on the facts. With Joe Biden projected to have won the 2020 election, we've heard a lot of questions about executive orders. People are asking us to verify. Could a new president reverse executive orders of a past administration? Our sources for this one are the National Constitution Center, the National Archives, this 2014 report from the Congressional Research Service, and Alan B. Morrison, an associate dean at the George Washington University Law School. And the short answer here is yes. Any executive order can be changed or even eliminated. Here's how the Congressional Research Service put it. By their very nature, executive orders lack stability, especially in the face of evolving presidential priorities. Continuing that, the president is free to revoke, modify, or supersede any past executive orders. But Morrison says there's a catch here. He says that when a president issues an executive order, they're often telling an agency what to do. That agency then creates or amends their regulations. So when a new president signs an executive order of their own to rescind that previous order, Morrison says they also need the agency in question to change their regulations. They also need to provide a legal justification for such a change.
So that, for example, if a rule that DHS put into effect was subject to public notice and comment, the Biden administration would have to follow the same procedures in getting rid of that.
So we could verify that yes, a new president can reverse an executive order from a past administration, but they'll need to ask the agencies themselves to change their regulations. With your Verify, this is Evan Kozlov.
Welcome back to DBL. An Ohio woman's death shocked the nation a year ago when a log rolled off a cliff, killing her. It was called a freak accident, but the truth is revealing much more. Here's an update in True Crime Chronicles.
Victoria Schaefer was well known in her Ohio community. The 44-year-old was a wife, a mother of 4, and an avid volunteer.
Victoria was a loving and caring person.
On Labor Day 2019, she was taking photos of high school students at Hocking Hills State Park. What should have been a normal day on the job turned into her family's worst nightmare. Victoria was struck by a 74-pound, 6-foot log that came tumbling down from the cliff above her, killing her instantly. A month later, police were tipped off on a cryptic text message between 2 teenagers. Reading one of them had, quote, done something serious in the park. Police finally had their suspects, 2 16-year-olds, Jaden Churchis and Jordan Buckley.
Your son did something that resulted in the death of a lady. No!
They both denied any involvement.
I don't think it's funny. I think that's the only reason why I'm telling you all this, because I think it's serious.
And then they pointed the finger at each other.
Who kicked it? Jordan. Jordan kicked it? Yes. Jaden kicked off a branch. Not a branch, it was a log. It was a big log, like probably this wide, this long, and he kicked it. Then it rolled off the cliff, and it made a loud bang, so we ran.
Victoria's family was shocked and heartbroken to learn she was in fact murdered.
You were responsible for the death of my precious child. And in doing so, you have inflicted a pain on me and my family so deep and intense that it will never leave our hearts.
The teens were charged with murder, involuntary manslaughter, and reckless homicide, both tried as adults.
Jordan, do you understand the void they now have in their lives?
Yes, Your Honor.
That will never be filled. Do you understand that?
Yes, Your Honor.
After hours of testimony,
understand that my family and I are spending the rest of our lives missing Victoria's hugs, her photography, her kind and gentle heart, and everything she was to us.
Jaden and Jordan agreed to a plea deal.
I'm so sorry for what has happened, and I'm so sorry that I was too big of a coward to come forward and speak about what happened that day.
I know that no matter what I say, nothing will bring your loved one back. I know what I did was wrong. I hope that you know I never intended to hurt anyone that day at Hocking Hills.
Both teens were convicted only on the involuntary manslaughter charge and sentenced to 3 years in juvenile detention. Though heartbroken, the Schaefer family did what they say Victoria would have wanted.
Our family chose to pursue a juvenile court decision that would provide you with a better chance of changing your life's direction and a second chance in life.
Earlier, Tori and I spoke with a reporter who was inside the courtroom for the teen's sentencing. Let's take a look.
We are joined by reporter Brittany Bailey from 10 TV in Columbus, Ohio. Thank you for joining us. What a tragic story. This is insane. 2 teens forced a 74-pound log off a cliff, killing Victoria Schaefer below, who was just doing her job taking photos. A year later, those 2 teens were just charged. You were in the courtroom for their sentencing. Brittany, can you explain their charges and what did they have to say?
Well, I think this really evolved over the year that this happened. This actually happened back on Labor Day of last year in 2019. And at first, everyone thought it was just a terrible act of nature. A log comes rolling off a cliff in a wilderness area, and then it evolves. And we pretty quickly find out from investigators that it was maybe not an accident. And I think that shocked everyone. And then about a month after that, all of a sudden, 2 teenagers, both 16 at the time, were arrested. And they were then charged with murder, involuntary manslaughter, and reckless homicide and charged as an adult. They ended up both taking plea deals where they would plead only to involuntary manslaughter in exchange for having the other charges, murder and reckless homicide, dropped.
So, Brittany, you mentioned the teens were tried as adults, yet they were sentenced to serve time in a youth detention facility, not a federal prison. Why is that?
Yes, you're correct about that. And I think that was just the latest move in this case that shocked a lot of people. But there is a reason for it. These plea deals were worked out with the help and the input from the families. And I think the family took some time to think about that. They talked through the case and they thought about what Victoria Schaefer wanted. And they said in court that they wanted to give both of the boys a second chance at life. Those boys both apologized in court and said they were appreciative of the second chance.
So you think the testimony from the husband and the family shortened their sentence in the judge's eyes?
Absolutely. And they all talked about that very openly. The judge even said to the teenagers in court, you realize that you're given a chance by the very person who doesn't have a chance at life anymore. And they just knew she was such a sweet person with a warm heart and would not have wanted to see this tragedy impact 2 more young lives, despite what they had done.
Do you know how her family's coping? Because I can't even imagine. And how has this sort of affected the whole community? Because it ripples out.
There are a lot of feelings on both sides, but I can tell you, a lot of people are impressed by the strength of this family. You not only heard the pain of the loss, but you heard the willingness to forgive. And that was, I think, most incredible.
For the latest on this case and to learn more, visit 10tv.com. Brittany, thank you so much. You can also listen to a new podcast episode out about this case, which I will be doing. Just search True Crime Chronicles on your favorite podcast player. Thank you so much for reporting. We are thankful for your presence in the courtroom and in the case. Thanks again. We'll be right back. Help. Welcome back to DBL. You have a month left to make a very big decision that impacts your health. We're talking about open enrollment. Here are 3 ways changing plans can save money in today's DBL Health Alert presented by Health Markets. First, if you switch from regular Medicare to Medicare Advantage or vice versa, it can save you tons. Different plans can lower premiums. Second, explore all Medicare Advantage plans. There are so many different types. Look at the deductible, copay, and out-of-pocket maximums to save money. Finally, by adding, switching, or dropping prescription drug coverage, you can save a lot. When it comes to your health, we've made it easy to find the best and most cost-effective Medicare Advantage plans. Just call 1-800-800-9974.
Yeah, it's I say to anybody, and I had to do this myself, anything you don't know, Google it. Don't be too embarrassed, because the jargon is what intimidates people. At the mechanic, you're like, I don't know what my air flow shaft is. Google it, figure it out, and see how much it costs, and make sure you're not getting ripped off.
I still get confused.
Your healthcare. Yeah.
I get confused every time. I go to Jeff, I go to our human resources, Jessica Hobbs.
Go to her.
It confuses me.
Don't come to me.
I know.
I'm going to tell you the wrong way.
I do have a comment. Did you guys want me to save that comment, or save it for the next block. Stay tuned because Jeff, the viewer that you responded to, just responded back.
My Portland friend.
Yeah, so I'm going to read that. We're going to keep that conversation going. We'll be right back.
Promotional consideration is brought to you by
Tomorrow on DBL, from Braxton Family Values to Wanda Braxton, how the famous family is grappling with Tamar's highly publicized suicide attempt.
Tamar has good days and she has great days, so I think that laughter and family really helped her a lot.
That's tomorrow on DBL.
Welcome back to DBL. So it is a tradition at the Masters that during a practice round, golfers skip the ball across the pond to see how close they can get to the hole. But watch how close Spaniard Jon Rahm got.
Going.
Yes, how satisfying is that? Can you believe that was his second hole-in-one in 2 days? But remember, those were just practice rounds. It also happened to be his birthday, so he got some birthday luck.
It's bigger than a practice, Sam.
Okay, well, we got to get to Jeff's response because I teased it. So this is what our show is all about. So the same viewer wrote you back, Jeff. He says, hey, guys, thank you for reading my email. For Jeff, you are 100% right. Calling for dead cops or anyone else is completely wrong. But as you said, that is a problem of the country. It's not a Portland-specific problem, and that behavior is very much a minority of cases. But much love for you for having open discussions like you do and appreciate the opportunity to be heard. The offer stands for Jeff. We're happy to have you in our city.
I don't like that one bit, Sam.
Listen, I would love to come to Portland and have boots on the ground, right? I'm judging a city completely by what I see on the news, and you're absolutely right as well. I'm glad we could have this discourse because what I see on the news maybe isn't a proper representation of what Portland is. I'd like to have somebody who knows the city, who knows people in the city. If it wasn't for COVID, I would be on the next plane out because these are things that I love to do. So seriously, thank you for writing in. You can tell I'm passionate, I'm real. This is how we all are on this panel. So thanks for writing in. And it's a conversation that I think the country needs to have. Maybe not this specifically, but about everything.
Jeff, we need yelling for it sweeps. We need yell. Call him something.
No way.
Call him a name.
I'm going to call him my friend. I'm going to call him my friend.
And what's cool, too, is now you have someone, his name's Zach. Now you have someone, he invited you. So
Zach.
You can, once the pandemic's over, Zach, be careful what you wish for because Mr. Jeff loves to travel.
I love it. I love it. Zach, get the couch ready or perhaps a spare bedroom. I don't know.
Erica, thanks for joining. DBL's
Love
new
you,
every
Cap.
day. We'll see you tomorrow, same time, same place. Bye, guys.
Talking about today on Daily Blast Live.
Shooting looters? A new proposal in Florida would let armed citizens protect local businesses. DBL Nation, are you for or against this? In today's True Crime Chronicles, a woman's death, thought to be a freak accident, turns into a murder investigation.
You were responsible for the death of my precious child.
Why 2 teens are now serving time. In honor of Veterans Day, the inspiring story of a man who didn't let his war injuries stop him from making history.
How do you feel, Neil? Pretty amazing, if I'm honest.
And a family ties reunion. Would a show like this work today?
Yeah, because this show could not have, would not survive now. We couldn't.
It would.
Real, honest, entertaining, live. DBL starts right now.
Welcome to DBL. It is Wednesday, November 11th. I'm Sam here with Jeff and Al. Erica joining us from home. A very important day today. Today is Veterans Day, a day where we honor the men and women who stood up to protect our country. So did you know that Veterans Day was originally Armistice Day, marking the end of the First World War in 1919? So there are about 17.4 million veterans, and of those, more than 1.6 million are women. Currently, there are about 37,000 veterans experiencing homelessness. That's about 11% of the homeless population. So do you have any vets in your life, DBL Nation? Write in. I know that we do. Erica, you posted a very special photo today on your Instagram of Papa Roosevelt. Tell us about that.
This photo is from 1968. My dad was in the Air Force, Staff Sergeant Roosevelt Cobb. We actually got together as a family last night to celebrate some things and had a little conversation about this photo. It's just really special because I know why my father enlisted and I know what his service meant to him. I know that he has continued to stay in touch with the men that he served with and has really been an advocate for a handful of them. So it's just really important. We went to the Vietnam Memorial every year, and we took our piece of paper and scratched out one of his friends who died during war. It's just something that we've always done as a tradition.
It's a tradition that I know many of our viewers know, many of us know on the panel. My dad served also, Eric, in Vietnam, 2 tours, and been to that wall, practiced the very same thing. That's actually my grandpa. So my grandpa served in World War II. That's my other grandpa who also served in World War II. But the grandpa in that newspaper, Grandpa Shocker, in that newspaper article, the reason why the newspaper covered it is because my great-grandmother had to send all 5 of her sons.
Oh my God. That's like Saving Private Ryan.
It's exactly like Saving Private Ryan, and in fact, she got a letter from the president thanking her because she sacrificed 5 of her sons. What about you, Jeff?
Yeah, my dad, here's a photo of my dad. He was in Vietnam too, so mind the flash, my mom took that photo for me, and she doesn't know how to get those out of the picture yet.
We get the point. That's awesome.
That was him.
Is that your dad?
Pops. That's my dad, yeah. So shout out to all the veterans out there.
Amen.
And I gotta tell Erica, her dad looks just as handsome today.
Woo! Yeah, and Albert.
Good looking man. Yeah, I mean, for mine, you know, obviously my dad served and his brothers did as well. But for me, like, and I've talked about this before on the show, really quickly, when I found out that I booked DBL, I was still on the fence, and I had just come back from a USO tour, and I don't know if we have the pictures. I was in Japan and Okinawa. In the corner, you can barely see me in Ramstein. That's Germany at an Air Force base. Camp Bondsteel in the bottom corner, that's me in Kosovo. There were 18-year-old recruits there that had been in freezing cold, dark Kosovo for 2 weeks that were thanking me for coming to visit. The picture in the top corner was me in South Korea, and that experience, talking to those soldiers and seeing how brave they were and how long they were separated from their family, was the reason that I decided to come to Denver and leave my children in school in Los Angeles. So they have a direct impact on me sitting here and a direct impact on all of us sitting here. So
beautiful story.
You so appreciative of that story. You tell it 100 times.
Dude,
it's the
so
first time, every time, and it shows like your care for that. You've done a lot of things in this business, and you talk about that like it's your most
it
passionate.
was because I was like, there's no way. I was like, I'm not going to Denver and leaving my kid. They're my life.
Yeah.
You know, and talking to these people, I'm like, I've been away from home for 18 months, and I have a 6-year-old. I'm like, if you can do that, I can get my butt on a flight every other weekend and go to LA.
Amen.
So
one of my favorite sayings is, you don't know them all, meaning veterans, but we owe them all. So we thank all the veterans out there. Coming up in a few minutes, in fact, we're going to have a remarkable story about a veteran who overcame his war wounds to climb one of the world's most difficult mountains. You do not want to miss it. Now, a lot of people are rethinking, we're switching gears here, their Thanksgiving plans. So as the coronavirus surge continues to get worse, right now there are more than 61,000 Americans hospitalized with the disease, and our 7-day average for new cases in the country is well above 100,000. So with the pandemic really heating up, the CDC has issued some new guidelines for Thanksgiving. So here they are. They're strongly encouraging people to keep celebrations to only people in your household. But they say if you're getting together with other people, you should bring your own plate. your own cup and utensils. They also suggest using single-serving condiments and, of course, keeping your distance. Also, wear your mask, except for when you're actually eating. And finally, they also recommend that you dine outside. Or if you have to be inside because of weather, make sure you crack open those windows. Now, what's interesting is a lot of our DBL Nation yesterday, because we brought up Thanksgiving yesterday, were writing in, and please continue to write in, saying that they are no longer going to do their what they thought would be their Thanksgiving plans because of the new CDC guidelines. So has anybody here changed their plans? Anybody thought they were going home? You're no longer going to go home?
I'm on the fence, Jeff. I'm assuming you're staying here?
Yeah, I'm staying here. Well, I mean, our plan all along was when this started to skip Thanksgiving, unfortunately, and keep our fingers crossed for Christmas, and hopefully we can make it back then. But listen, you have to do what you have to do. It's hard enough to get people to wear a mask these days, right? To have all those guidelines that you just mentioned, Sam, people follow those for Thanksgiving. You know, you're affecting my family, too. That's what it comes down to. I'm not doing this because I want your family and your grandparents and your ill to survive. So the sacrifices that people aren't making for other people is shameful in my mind.
Erica?
Well, Anthony and I are celebrating Thanksgiving together, just the two of us, and I know that completely bums out my parents, but it's just something that we really feel like, since we took so many precautions to get home earlier this year, but since everyone's going to be traveling, it's just too risky.
Yeah, and we're on the finishing leg, right? When you look at the pandemic and knowing that a vaccine is near, like, we can't give up now.
Right.
And I know we're all fatigued. I'm fatigued. I want to see my family. I want to see my parents. And I read your comments, DBL Nation. Everybody is over it, but we're almost to the end, and we cannot falter now, because that will end up in more loss of life.
And Sam, to your point, losing anybody is a tragedy, but what if you lost somebody the Thanksgiving before we got the vaccine, when we were right there at the end? So I mean,
that would haunt you.
It would haunt you forever. Right. So we might just have to miss this one, chalk this one up, and look forward to the next four.
Yeah, and when I mean shameful, I'm not shaming people who are getting together for Thanksgiving. Do what you want to do. I'm saying the everyday things, social distancing, wearing a mask. We're still talking about it 8 months later and urging people to talk about it. It's like, come on.
Yeah,
you know?
It's time.
Right there with you. Erica, stick around. Coming up on DBL, he may have lost his legs in Iraq, but one veteran didn't lose sight of his dreams. How he made history climbing one of the world's most dangerous mountains. Plus, Johnny Depp's most loyal fans, well, they are coming to his defense. What they're doing to muster support. And Florida's governor is advocating for stricter laws against rioters and looters. Both sides of that controversial debate coming up next.
The Facebook post says, "We all voted, even my 13-year-old daughter. She learned an important lesson, too, that it is illegal to ask for identification at the polls because we are against voter suppression." The verified team was able to find out the person who posted this is a St. Clair County resident. We've blurred his name because the important thing here is to fact check and stop the spread of misinformation, not to publicly call out private citizens. So we went to county officials. Our source is St. Clair County Clerk Thomas Holbrook. When we showed him this post, it was hardly the first time he'd seen it. He said the post has been reported to his office multiple times. Holbrook says he requested an immediate investigation by the state's attorney's office. Investigators from that office and law enforcement looked into it, and they found, quote, the father was being sarcastic and regrets posting this Facebook falsehood. This father and mother did vote. Their daughter did not vote or even attempt to register to vote, end quote. So we can verify this post is false, but it is a good example of just how fast misinformation can spread.
Welcome back to DBL. There's been a lot of unrest in the country in recent months, and now some people are wondering, should you be able to shoot looters who are ransacking your store? Well, Florida Governor Ron DeSantis has drafted new anti-mob legislation. That's what it's called, and it's a serious expansion of the Stand Your Ground laws there in Florida. According to the Miami Herald, some worry the legislation would allow armed citizens to shoot and potentially kill anyone suspected of looting. The legislation also includes a measure that would make protesting that blocks traffic a third-degree felony. It would also grant immunity to drivers who unintentionally kill or injure a protester blocking traffic. So this all sounds very controversial, in my opinion. So DBL Nation, we want to hear what you think. Do you support this new draft legislation? Let us know. Yes or no. We're going to monitor that. Go to dblvote.com to weigh in. Jeff, what do you make of this?
Listen, something needs to be done, right? I don't know to this extreme. People are going to get away with running people over in the street. That's not good, or be able to just shoot random people whenever you want. Listen, if you're being attacked, I understand defending yourself, but something needs to be done. We've lost cities like Seattle, Portland, the city of Santa Monica. The police were told to stand down while people destroyed that city. Those cities might not come back in 5 years, maybe 10 years, maybe ever. People are moving out of cities because they're so destroyed. Something needs to be done. To this extreme, I don't think so. I think we need to have a conversation, a real conversation, to stop a lot of this, because a lot of our cities, people aren't going to move. They're moving out of. They're not moving into.
Yeah, Jeff, I think what bothers me about this conversation is kind of the vague language that we're using. Like, what's the actual definition of protesting and looting? And who are these people that we are randomly deputizing to use their weapons? What is somebody that's suspected of looting? What does that look like? What if I am the cable man and I'm checking the cable outside? You could say, I suspected this man of trying to break into my property. Could you shoot me then? That's a fair, you can suspect that. But we have laws and we have procedures by trained professionals to avoid situations like that could be unfortunate on both sides. So I think when we start throwing laws around like this, ask ourselves, will we apply this to healthcare? If, Jeff, I thought that you had a heart condition, I have no training, could I just open you up and try and do some surgery? Like, we have professionals for that. So, like, let's let the professionals and the lawmakers make laws without vague language so we don't run into bad situations.
Yeah, I don't think this is wrong. This is absolutely wrong, Erica. And I see you making a face, and I would imagine you agree.
I'm so confused.
Yeah.
I feel like this conversation needs a little bit more energy. We do understand that these very loose language and loose qualifications are what resulted in the death of Trayvon Martin, what resulted in the death of the young ally in Charlottesville. You're talking about a state where in 1920, November 3rd of 1920, a riot ensued that is sitting on DeSantis's desk in terms of a bill in order to honor the fallen of over 60 individuals, all in a black community, based on one black man deciding to vote. If you want to have a conversation about rioting and looting, DeSantis, have a conversation about Ocoee, okay? Have a conversation about that, because at the end of the day, when we start talking about stand your ground and you're putting property over people in places and folks who already feel emboldened to just shoot and ask questions later anyway, there cannot be a slippery slope. I need a little bit more energy behind this to say that this is abhorrent.
Yeah, it's
abhorrent
I'm with
at
you.
best.
I'm with you, Erica. I can't even see the other side on this one, especially because of the very fact that, let's say somebody does loot, right? Let's say somebody does riot. Of course that's wrong. But the sentence for that, the consequence for that is not death. And this feels like the wild, wild west to me. This feels like we're going
most
backwards.
Most of our riots take place after sports championships. So could I roll down if the Cavs win and just start opening fire on people?
Yeah.
How does that work?
Yeah. Okay. Let's look at the megaphone. 62% of you, do you support this new draft legislation? 62% of you say yes. I don't understand. I feel like we're going backwards. Today's Veterans Day. It feels wrong today. It's going to feel wrong tomorrow. Coming up on DBL, the cast of Family Ties reunites for one night only. Should a show featuring a politically divided family work today? And meet a veteran who lost his legs on the battlefield, but not his determination to climb a mountain. His inspirational story next. Welcome back to DBL. Today, we are paying tribute to all the brave men and women in the military. In celebration of Veterans Day, we wanted to share the remarkable story of Neil Heritage. He's a veteran who refused to let his war injury stop him from making history. I spoke with him earlier. It was quite the honor. Take a look.
Neil Heritage's military dream started when he was a child. And at age 16, he joined the British military.
It hadn't really occurred to me that I might end up going to war one day. I just thought I was going to get to travel and mess about, to be honest.
Fast forward to 2004, when the world is 1 year into the Iraq War. 23-year-old Neil is deployed to help American and British troops take back the city of Fallujah.
We're clearing a route one day, which will be a fairly routine task for us. So clearing a route of potential IEDs.
Seconds later, his world is ripped apart.
I'm behind a warrior vehicle, which is, to explain, it's like an armoured vehicle, looks like a tank. So I'm behind the armoured door of that. The vehicle drives up to the other side, explodes. Both my legs are off instantly.
Within minutes, Neil goes into shock.
I knew I was conscious and I was awake for about 30 minutes after the incident. I could see that my legs were gone. Didn't think I stood much chance of surviving, if I've been honest. I'd seen lots of people with those, with injuries and not as serious as that, not make it.
Neil wakes up 10 days later and starts his difficult road to recovery.
And really, it took a few more years for me to get walking. So I think probably about 5 years post-injury. We had, better prosthetics facilities come into the UK and better technology available to us. And that's probably the time, around the 5 years, where I could kind of walk independently.
Neil then begins pushing his new body. He sets his sights on one of the highest summits in the Swiss Alps and hopes to become the first double amputee to climb the Matterhorn.
It's really difficult to convince someone to take me on the mountain.
He chooses the nearly 15,000-foot mountain because it's a technical climb and will be less walking and more actual climbing for his prosthetics.
We got less than halfway up the mountain, absolutely exhausted. Definitely the hardest thing I'd ever done. And yeah, we were nowhere near.
Unable to finish, Neil turns back. 2 years later, he tries the climb again.
So this time we get much higher. We get to about 3,800 meters, and then it snows. And the guides turn us around and say, that's it, that's as far as we can go, because the mountain's now too dangerous.
Then in August of this year, Neil gives it one more try.
So here we are, summit of the Matterhorn, first double above the knee, amputee Neil Heritage 2020. How do you feel, Neil?
Pretty amazing, if I'm honest. Beautiful day as well.
Neil, welcome to DBL. First and foremost, thank you for your service and your sacrifice. Happy Veterans Day to you. So after the explosion, you did not wake up for 10 days. What happened when you woke up?
I woke up 10 days later in hospital, and the news that I got when I woke up that was, my fiance was pregnant, had a child on the way.
How did that impact your recovery?
It was massive, actually, because it turned the whole focus from, look what's happened to me, and my career's over, I'm disabled, and it turned the focus. Actually, we've got this time now. We've got to get ready and prepare, and make a good job of being a dad, and get myself as ready as I can for that.
It took you 4 years and 3 attempts to summit the Matterhorn. What kept you motivated to keep you trying?
From the outset, I was pretty convinced it was possible, so that was the motivation to keep going. Is can I prove this is possible? And I just, especially after being on the mountain a couple of times, it was one of them things I just couldn't kind of walk away from. So it was just a case I had to keep going back.
After all the hard work, what was your first thought after you finished that climb?
I think on the summit it was really emotional, actually. A combination of being completely exhausted and finally achieving the goal. That me and the team that had been working with me for a few years, we were able to spend about 30 minutes on the summit. Just an incredible moment up there.
Did you yell? Did you, what do you do? I can't even imagine. Please paint the picture for me.
Yeah, so as soon as we were on the summit and approaching the summit, I was being filmed, so we had a cameraman there. So I tried to hold my emotions a little bit in check, because for that reason I knew I was under pressure. So I was very British about it all, as you can imagine. It was just an amazing moment.
You really inspire me, and I know that you're inspiring so many of our viewers. So for those of you wanting to help Neil's nonprofit, visit his Facebook page, Climb to Recovery. Neil, it has been quite the honor. Thank you for joining DBL.
Thank you.
We'll be right back.
Promotional consent.
Welcome back to DBL. We love sharing your comments. We have a very strong comment in opposition to you, Jeff, and that's what this show is all about, having that conversation. You can disagree. Zach says, I'm sorry. What I just heard from Jeff is unacceptable. I live in Portland, and we have not lost our city. It is not trashed. Shame on you for pushing this fake narrative. Come to Portland, Jeff. Let us give you a tour to prove our city is doing just fine. COVID has had more impact than any protest on our city.
Okay. Well, I would love to come to Portland. I'm all about like a visual walk around. But how do you figure your autonomous zone is thriving and messages saying free all the people and kill the police? How is that thriving as a city? It's not. And I came from Santa Monica. I've seen the destruction in that city. So there's a problem with your city. Even though maybe where you live it's not, there is a problem with your city and Seattle and all over the United States. So thanks for watching and thanks for writing in.
If you're sticking around, here's what's coming up on DBL. Johnny Depp's biggest fans are getting vocal. We'll tell you what they're demanding. And in True Crime Chronicles, was a woman's death a freak accident or something else? DBL's new every day. We'll be right back.
This is Daily Blast Live. We're talking about what you're talking about. Real, honest, entertaining, live. DBL starts right now.
Welcome to DBL. I'm Sam here with Jeff and Al. Erica joining us from home. So the cast of Family Ties reunited for charity last night. The 80s sitcom featured Michael J. Fox as Alex P. Keaton, a conservative Republican being raised by liberal parents. You remember the show. And during the reunion, Michael Gross, who played the dad, reflected on the politics at the time. Watch.
I love the time that we were together. I mean, that was I think as you'll all agree, a kinder, gentler politics. It was a great time in the same way we hammered out our compromises in the family, and I think that's one of the things that people loved about us.
This show could not have, would not survive now. We couldn't.
It would. We have family members that are on different pages, and we do get along.
I think people want a show like this.
That's interesting. Do you think that a show like that would survive in today's political climate, Jeff?
I like how all the political comments are coming right at me. No, I don't. I don't. And shame on you. I'm just kidding. No, I don't think it could, because back then it seemed so peaceful, right? There were two people on either side of the aisle. They had their differences. It was almost comical at times, and they loved each other in the end. Today's climate, friends, family like this are broken up. People are outraged on Facebook and social media because of this topic. It's insane, and I don't think we could have a show that honestly depicts what people are feeling in America these days.
Yeah, and also the dynamic, Sam, is way different. You know, that was the reason that Alex was a conservative, is, and we saw this a lot with the children of the air quotes hippies, is hippies are like, oh, we just let Jeff run around in the field, and I don't know where my kid is. I don't know. And like, those kids rebelled against that and became yuppies and uptight and moved to the suburbs and did things on the schedule because they kind of craved that lifestyle that they didn't get from that parent. So that kind of generation is gone at this point. And I think in terms of politics, Sam, and I want to hear what you and Eric have to say about this, I think the politics has changed because there's so much more at stake. It's not just about, oh, did he blow the budget? Like, this is people's lives.
Yeah, Erica, I think that's a really important point by Al. I mean, of course, social issues and racial justice issues are have forever been a stain on our record when it comes to America. However, right now they seem to be front and center. So it's putting people on two completely different sides with for many people, there's no negotiating. Do you think a show like Family Ties would somehow break that up and promote civility, or do you think that's just, it's not even possible because it comes off insensitive?
I just disagree with everything that was said, because I think that we have a habit of acting like we're the first to ever do it. The dynamics may change, the subject matter may change, but the idea of things changing from generation to generation is nothing new. I mean, if you really are talking about most family households, even if there's differing opinions, it's not as polarizing as people really want to believe. I do understand there are extremes, but for the most part, think about last Thanksgiving. I know that was a really long time ago, and that was a whole different world. You have your parents who may feel a certain way based on their experiences, and then you might have the children who are the woke police being like, no, you're wrong and this is why. I mean, these conversations are being had in most households, and in most households they don't involve someone never speaking to the other person again, or someone throwing something and walking out the door. I think these are conversations that are just a part of a growing process in a society and with family. Now, all of this has been very extreme and for very good reason, but at the same time, I think in the middle ground is where most of us end up.
But Erica, you're talking about keeping that in-house, as in the older days, right? Now, when you have that in-house...
No, I'm talking about right now in our homes, just like Family Ties and the way the dynamics were with the family. I'm talking about family dynamics.
Right. So I'm saying nowadays, people split up, or they go to their rooms and are mad, and they don't just, wait it out and then talk and afterwards. They go on social media, and it fuels the fire. It fuels the steam to their side of things. And now all of a sudden, they found someone that agrees with their point of view, and now they're more into the computer than they are with talking it out with their own family or best friend. That's where I'm saying it's different from generation to generation. Social media is the difference in our generation.
All right.
I mean, I'm not disagreeing that that's happening, but I do understand that it's not happening for everyone. And I think that we really need to get to a place where we're acknowledging, we can have these conversations, and these conversations are happening all over the country. It doesn't have to be racist versus not racist. I mean, it might just be a difference in ideology, which is generally what's happening. I mean, it's not like I had to remove a ton of my friends and people around me because I just discovered they were racist. If they were racist, they likely were not in my circle.
Agreed. Agreed.
Let's get to the next story. Johnny Depp's fans are coming to his defense. The actor was recently asked to quit the latest Fantastic Beasts movie after he lost his libel suit against a British newspaper. The article claimed that Johnny was abusive toward his then wife Amber Heard, but Johnny's fans started a petition asking Warner Brothers to give him back his role. So far, it has more than 150,000 signatures. Johnny's Instagram page was flooded with well wishes. One fan wrote, "We love you, Johnny. You deserve so much more. Thank you for everything. We'll always support you." This is what I've been saying from the beginning. And I get that this is a convoluted case. I understand that there's two sides and then there's the truth. But I've been saying from the very beginning, Johnny Depp, and I know he just lost his role, but his image, so to speak, has been unscathed. He's still, for some reason, he's an anomaly to the Me Too movement and to people canceling him.
Sam, he just lost his job, and there was a front page headline that said he's a wife beater. His image has been scathed.
It really has not when you look on social media.
His job.
I agree that he lost his job, but you see his fans for some reason, not even go to Kevin Spacey's social media. Go to anybody else that's been canceled out, whether it be Louis C.K. They are, I'm sure their most recent posts, still to this day, people are calling them different things, right? What was that?
We got a couple more minutes, Abe.
Okay, I got to move on, I guess. Okay.
No, you're right. Listen,
no,
here's
I got to
difference.
move on because I'm
No,
constantly being told to move
we have
on.
one more story. The difference, you mentioned Kevin Spacey. He was convicted in a court of law, right? Or at least, was he innocent on that first trial, but he's still going to more trials?
I think so, yes.
Johnny Depp hasn't been convicted. I think maybe that's a difference.
That was the gray area. He kind of he was like, he was convicted of 12 of the 14 counts, but they weren't criminal. But a judge found that 12 of the 14 counts were at least plausible enough that it helped in the libel case, saying that he can't say that the newspaper unfairly labeled him because the judge labeled him like that. So he did lose in a court of law.
Right, and Kevin Spacey wasn't convicted.
But it's a gray area of losing.
All right. Next story. Jason Momoa revealed he was broke after his character was killed off on Game of Thrones. So Jason famously played Khal Drogo, but his time on the show was cut short after just one season. Jason told InStyle magazine he couldn't find work after his early exit, and he and his wife Lisa Bonet struggled to pay bills, saying at one point they were starving. The couple, who had 2 toddlers at the time, were also in debt. Things did turn around when Jason got the role of Aquaman. Erica, a lot of people aren't buying this for some reason. I think a lot of everyday Americans don't understand that if you're not, even if you're an actor, even if you're famous, that doesn't equate to consistent work. It also doesn't equate to wealth. So a lot of actors that we know and love do go through times of unemployment and debt and being broke.
Well, Sam, no one wants to believe that at one point Aquaman was starving. That's just not something that sits well with us, because if Aquaman was starving, then what hope does the rest of us have? But I know you're absolutely right. I shouldn't be speaking to this. You should be speaking to this.
I think we just have a few seconds left. I don't think I have enough time to talk about it. I wish I did. Erica, stick around. Coming up on DBL. A log rolls off a cliff and kills an innocent bystander. Was it a tragic accident, or did someone do it on purpose? Don't miss True Crime Chronicles next.
Team is here for you when it comes to politics. We avoid spin and opinions and just focus on the facts. With Joe Biden projected to have won the 2020 election, we've heard a lot of questions about executive orders. People are asking us to verify, could a new president reverse executive orders of a past administration? Our sources for this one are the National Constitution Center, the National Archives, this 2014 report from the Congressional Research Service, and Alan B. Morrison, an associate dean at the George Washington University Law School. And the short answer here is yes. Any executive order can be changed or even eliminated. Here's how the Congressional Research Service put it. By their very nature, executive orders lack stability, especially in the face of evolving presidential priorities. Continuing that, the president is free to revoke, modify, or supersede any past executive orders. But Morrison says there's a catch here. He says that when a president issues an executive order, they're often telling an agency what to do. That agency then creates or amends their regulations. So when a new president signs an executive order of their own to rescind that previous order, Morrison says they also need the agency in question to change their regulations. They also need to provide a legal justification for such a change.
So that, for example, if a rule that DHS put into effect was subject to public notice and comment, the Biden administration would have to follow the same procedures getting rid of that.
So we could verify that yes, a new president can reverse an executive order from a past administration, but they'll need to ask the agencies themselves to change the regulations. With your Verify, this is Evan Kozlov.
Welcome back to DBL. An Ohio woman's death shocked the nation a year ago when a log rolled off a cliff, killing her. It was called a freak accident, but the truth is revealing much more. Here's an update in True Crime Chronicles.
Victoria Schaefer was well known in her Ohio community. The 44-year-old was a wife, a mother of 4, and an avid volunteer.
Victoria was a loving and caring person.
On Labor Day 2019, she was taking photos of high school students at Hocking Hills State Park. What should have been a normal day on the job turned into her family's worst nightmare. Victoria was struck by a 74-pound, 6-foot log that came tumbling down from the cliff above her, killing her instantly. A month later, police were tipped off on a cryptic text message between 2 teenagers. Reading one of them had, quote, done something serious in the park. Police finally had their suspects, 2 16-year-olds, Jaden Churchis and Jordan Buckley.
Your son did something that resulted in the death of a lady. No!
They both denied any involvement.
I don't think it's funny. I think that's the only reason why I'm telling you all this, because I think it's serious.
And then they pointed the finger at each other.
Who kicked it? Jordan. Jordan kicked it? Yes. Jaden kicked off a branch. Not a branch, it was a log. It was a big log, like probably this wide, this long, and he kicked it, and it rolled off the cliff, and it made a loud bang, so we ran.
Victoria's family was shocked and heartbroken to learn she was in fact murdered.
You were responsible for the death of my precious child. And in doing so, you have inflicted a pain on me and my family so deep and intense that it will never leave our hearts.
The teens were charged with murder, involuntary manslaughter, and reckless homicide, both tried as adults.
Jordan, do you understand the void they now have in their lives?
Yes, Your Honor.
That will never be filled. Do you understand that?
Yes, Your Honor.
After hours of testimony,
understand that my family and I are spending the rest of our lives missing Victoria's hugs, her photography, her kind and gentle heart, and everything she was to us.
Jaden and Jordan agreed to a plea deal.
I'm so sorry for what has happened, and I'm so sorry that I was too big of a coward to come forward and speak about what happened that day.
I know that no matter what I say, nothing will bring your loved one back. I know what I did was wrong. I hope that you know I never intended to hurt anyone that day at Hocking Hills.
Both teens were convicted only on the involuntary manslaughter charge and sentenced to 3 years in juvenile detention. Though heartbroken, the Schaefer family did what they say Victoria would have wanted.
Our family chose to pursue a juvenile court decision that would provide you with a better chance of changing your life's direction and a second chance in life.
Earlier, Tori and I spoke with a reporter who was inside the courtroom for the teen's sentencing. Let's take a look.
We are joined by reporter Brittany Bailey from 10 TV in Columbus, Ohio. Thank you for joining us. What a tragic story. This is insane. 2 teens forced a 74-pound log off a cliff, killing Victoria Schaefer below, who was just doing her job taking photos. A year later, those 2 teens were just charged. You were in the courtroom for their sentencing. Brittany, can you explain their charges and what did they have to say?
Well, I think this really evolved over the year that this happened. This actually happened back on Labor Day of last year in 2019. And at first, everyone thought it was just a terrible act of nature. A log comes rolling off a cliff in a wilderness area, and then it evolves. And we pretty quickly find out from investigators that it was maybe not an accident. And I think that shocked everyone. And then about a month after that, all of a sudden, 2 teenagers, both 16 at the time, were arrested, and they were then charged with murder, involuntary manslaughter, and reckless homicide, and charged as an adult. They ended up both taking plea deals where they would plead only to involuntary manslaughter in exchange for having the other charges, murder and reckless homicide, dropped.
So, Brittany, you mentioned the teens were tried as adults, yet they were sentenced to serve time in a youth detention facility, not a federal prison. Why is that?
Yes, you're correct about that. And I think that was just the latest move in this case that shocked a lot of people. But there is a reason for it. These plea deals were worked out with the help and the input from the families. And I think the family took some time to think about that. They talked through the case and they thought about what Victoria Schaefer wanted. And they said in court that they wanted to give both of the boys a second chance at life. Those boys both apologized in court and said they were appreciative of the second chance.
So you think the testimony from the husband and the family shortened their sentence in the judge's eyes?
Absolutely. And they all talked about that very openly. The judge even said to the teenagers in court, you realize that you're given a chance by the very person who doesn't have a chance at life anymore. And they just knew she was such a sweet person with a warm heart and would not have wanted to see this tragedy impact 2 more young lives despite what they had done.
Do you know how her family's coping? Because I can't even imagine. And how has this sort of affected the whole community? Because it ripples out.
There are a lot of feelings on both sides, but I can tell you, a lot of people are impressed by the strength of this family. You not only heard the pain of the loss, but you heard the willingness to forgive. And that was, I think, most incredible.
For the latest on this case and to learn more, visit 10tv.com. Brittany, thank you so much. You can also listen to a new podcast episode out about this case, which I will be doing. Just search True Crime Chronicles on your favorite podcast player. Thank you so much for reporting. We are thankful for your presence in the courtroom and in the case. Thanks again. We'll be right back.
Welcome back to DBL. You have a month left to make a very big decision that impacts your health. We're talking about open enrollment. Here are 3 ways changing plans can save money in today's DBL Health Alert presented by Health Markets. First, if you switch from regular Medicare to Medicare Advantage or vice versa, it can save you tons. Different plans can lower premiums. Second, explore all Medicare Advantage plans. There are so many different types. Look at the deductible, copay, and out-of-pocket maximums to save money. Finally, by adding, switching, or dropping prescription drug coverage, you can save a lot. When it comes to your health, we've made it easy to find the best and most cost-effective Medicare Advantage plans. Just call 1-800-800-9974.
Yeah, it's I say to anybody, and I had to do this myself, anything you don't know, Google it. Don't be too embarrassed, because the jargon is what intimidates people. At the mechanic, you're like, I don't know what my air flow shaft is. Google it, figure it out, and see how much it costs, and make sure you're not getting ripped off.
I still get confused.
Your healthcare. Yeah.
I get confused every time. I go to Jeff, I go to our human resources, Jessica Hobbs.
Go to her.
It confuses me.
Don't come to me.
I
I'm going to tell you the wrong way.
I do have a comment. Did you guys want me to save that comment or save it for the next block? Stay tuned, because Jeff, the viewer that you responded to, just responded back.
My Portland friend.
Yeah, so I'm going to read that. We're going to keep that conversation going. We'll be right back.
Promotional consideration is brought to you by
Tomorrow on DBL, from Braxton family values to Wanda Braxton, how the famous family is grappling with Tamar's highly publicized suicide attempt.
Tamar has good days and she has great days, so I think that laughter and family really helped her a lot.
That's tomorrow on DBL.
Welcome back to DBL. So it is a tradition at the Masters that during a practice round, golfers skip the ball across the pond to see how close they can get to the hole. But watch how close Spaniard Jon Rahm got.
Going.
Wow. Yes, how satisfying is that? Can you believe that was his second hole-in-one in 2 days? But remember, those were just practice rounds. It also happened to be his birthday, so he got some birthday luck.
It's bigger than a practice, Sam.
Okay, well, we got to get to Jeff's response because I teased it. So this is what our show is all about. So the same viewer wrote you back, Jeff. He says, hey, guys, thank you for reading my email. For Jeff, you are 100% right. Calling for dead cops or anyone else is completely wrong. But as you said, that is a problem of the country. It's not a Portland-specific problem, and that behavior is very much a minority of cases. But much love for you for having open discussions like you do and appreciate the opportunity to be heard. The offer stands for Jeff. We're happy to have you in our city.
I don't like that one bit, Sam.
Listen, I would love to come to Portland and have boots on the ground, right? I'm judging a city completely by what I see on the news, and you're absolutely right as well. I'm glad we could have this discourse because what I see on the news maybe isn't a proper representation of what Portland is. I'd like to have somebody who knows the city, who knows people in the city. If it wasn't for COVID, I would be on the next plane out because these are things that I love to do. So seriously, thank you for writing in. You can tell I'm passionate, I'm real. This is how we all are on this panel. So thanks for writing in. And it's a conversation that I think the country needs to have. Maybe not this specifically, but about everything.
Jeff, we need yelling for it sweeps. We need yell. Call him something.
No way.
Call him a name.
I'm going to call him my friend. I'm going to call him my friend.
And what's cool, too, is now you have someone, his name's Zach. Now you have someone, he invited you. So
Zach.
You can, once the pandemic's over, Zach, be careful what you wish for because Mr. Jeff loves to travel.
I love it. I love it. Zach, get the couch ready or perhaps a spare bedroom. I don't know.
Erica, thanks for joining DBL's
Love
New
you,
Every
Cobb.
Day. We'll see you tomorrow, same time, same place. Bye, guys.